Motherfucker.
I just did it. Fuck it.
Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We are going to be doing a session 0 for Deadlands tonight. And I was going to say something that probably wouldn't be appropriate. But after a very long
if it was about me, I gotta hear it now.
No. I was gonna say Back from the Dead, but that seems really harsh. All things being equal,
I am harrowed to some degree. It's on top. If I were in Deadlands harrowed, that'd be me, baby.
Jeez. All right. Well, Neil's back, everybody.
I'm back. I was gonna wait for the intro, but I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, everyone. Now you have to deal with me again. But it's going to be so fun, cowboys. I'm so excited. I love Wild West lore, and monsters. It's a great setting.
Yep. We should have fun. All right. Well, I'm gonna kick it to you because you're gonna.
Oh, do you want to like say who else is playing? Do we want to do that?
We never do intros. Maybe we should. So at the top, we've got GM Neil. You go ahead and.
Oh, I'm Neil. You've heard me. I ran Fear Itself and a Rogue Trader game on Legends of Tabletop for a while. Then I have been on hiatus due to so many issues. COVID being only sort of one of them. It was worse than COVID. So, but I'm back and wanting to run something fun. So yeah. And if you ever, at this point, no one's heard Nerdbound. No one knows what that was, but I think John has it on the archives, right? So like, if you want to hear a hell of a lot of D&D that we ran back in the day, you can have it that too.
Nerdbound, baby. So we got Kevin.
Yeah.
Nerdbound's the reason I started Dragon Fisters. Because I was like, if they can do it, anybody can do it.
No
it was,
way.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know what? That made my day. I am retiring right now. Okay, goodbye. I don't need I already had one effect on anything. Great. I'm good.
And I was on both of those shows.
Yeah.
Ah, shit. We were going to do Jim next and he left.
I was going to do Jim next. He's out. Go to Jesse. Everyone's like, I know him. He's on it.
Oh, wait. Jim's back.
He's back. He's back.
There we go.
He's back.
Sorry about that.
He's back.
Yeah, I guess Jim, I'm new to playing with you guys. Was fortunate enough to play in another game with John and Jesse, and got the invite to come over. I mean, I've been playing role-playing games for a while, mostly D&D since like 2nd edition. Played a lot of the D20 stuff, bounced around to like Vampire and stuff like that. So this is my first Deadlands game or Savage Lands. So yeah, looking forward to it. Like Ghosts and Cowboys just seem like too good of a deal to pass up.
Hell yeah. All right, now you can go, Jesse.
Me?
Yeah.
Ah, shit. Everyone knows. No, if you listen to Legends of the Tabletop, you've heard my voice way too much.
Jesse, everybody.
I do things. I run games. I play in games. And to some people, I talk way too much. But I'm still here.
That no one's killed your character
That's
yet.
only when I'm not on.
And John?
I'm John. I'm in stuff too.
We did it. And I'm the asshole who put all this together. So we did it.
Oh, we're nailing it. We're nailing it. By the way, I did not watch it in. I might do it. I don't remember what streaming service it's on, but I believe I do have access to it. Hell on Wheels. I wanted to watch it. Did you see that, Jesse? Is it?
I love
watching?
that show.
Oh, I gotta watch it as inspiration. Anyway. Okay. I saw when it was on, and I just missed it and like didn't get a chance. But I think it's done, right? So I don't know if they actually ended it or if it just got canceled. But
I watched the first 3 seasons and then kind of lost track of it after that.
I mean, 3 seasons is more than I thought. I thought it only had like 2 or 3, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it went 4 seasons. But anyway, yeah, it's really good.
I'm excited. Maybe I'll check that out because Deadlands is what is called the Weird West setting. So a lot of folks are less familiar with it. I don't know. It seems to me like I always had the impression it was super popular, but I feel like a lot of folks haven't actually ever played it.
I mean, it's their flagship, right? For Savage Worlds. I mean, I think it's their oldest setting. I feel like.
I don't know. Maybe. But the first Deadlands was, well, maybe it was. Maybe. I'm trying to think if. So I played the only Savage Worlds this edition that I've run, or any edition like that's close to this, was the Star Wars game. And it worked great. I'm kind of torn between it and what is that called? Empire at or
the Fantasy Flight Edge of the Empire.
Yeah, the Fantasy Flight Edge of the Galaxy, Edge of the whatever,
Edge
and then they have
Empire.
a couple others.
Yeah.
Edge of Rebellious Destiny.
Yeah,
that's a combination of all three of them.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Edge of Rebellious.
Come on,
Destiny.
Star Wars Saga Edition based on 3.5 isn't your favorite one? But there's so many skill tables, and
wasn't that? I don't think it was any of you, but I swear to God, I played. That was the only game that we had a forum game going back on the Nerdbound forum.
I fucked an anthropomorphic beaver.
Wait, yeah. But you weren't the Wookiee.
Games.
You weren't the Wookiee, right? I felt so bad. Someone played a Wookiee bruiser who legit first combat ever charges a stormtrooper, hits him with his axe, and kills that stormtrooper.
There we go.
The next person to go was the other stormtrooper. Crit, one shot dead. And I was like, oh no!
I mean, shit, when you're looking through weapons and I'm like, oh man, I got a Viroax that does 1d10 damage, and I'm like, oh, or I could have a blaster that does 4d12.
Yeah. And I was like, and so yeah, they thought I'm gonna fucking Wookiee this up. And then one shot just nuked them. It was like in Fallout when you're just bones and ash at the end. That's what happened to that guy. And I was like, I was like, I'm not even gonna retcon. I'm sorry, I just killed you with one shot. This system's broken. This is level 1. Real bad. It was real bad. Although I did say at the very beginning, I put an edit note. Stormtroopers are dangerous. Don't think they're like nukes. They will kill you in this. And people were like, whatever. So it's their fault. So Deadlands, alternate history, where the Civil War happens and then doesn't end. Basically I think it was, they say which battle, the battle that sort of turned the tide of the Civil War. And instead the South holds. I don't think it was Gettysburg, but it was near there.
I feel like it wouldn't be, right? Because in the real world it was. So I feel like it has to be something different. I just don't remember.
No, I think it was. Maybe it was then. Maybe it was Gettysburg, and then they said, oh, and then because the South happened to win, they could hold on for longer. I can probably find it quickly, but I'll go into it as we get into the history. I'm realizing that the Weird West book glosses over a lot of that because it's set more than 10 years later than what we're going to play. So we're technically playing closer to Deadlands Reloaded versus just the Deadlands Weird West. Weird West are the rules we're going to use because I know they had edited and refined some of those things. So we're going to use the Weird West rules with a pre-Deadlands Reloaded sort of narrative on on where we are in history. And I'm going to say, if you've ever listened to me run anything, I would say throw any canon out the window per se. I will try to stick with some things that I like, and I'll change anything I want to, or that I just didn't remember or forgot. So
We pissed off so many Warhammer 40K fans during our
I
Warhammer
bet you.
game.
I guarantee.
Dude.
Warhammer's got to be the worst, right?
Yeah, like they rank right up there with Star Wars for toxic fandoms from what I've dealt with in the last year and a half. Like they get mad as hell. Like I'll go into the store and just say stuff wrong to the owner just to piss people off around us. We'll just go.
I knew we got along for a reason, Jim.
I would love to see those comments that come at you.
Most of them are just dirty looks, but they're like, I think they realize if it comes down to actually fighting it ain't going to be with your little plastic minis. This ain't going to go well.
Yeah, you're gonna fight like a real dude. You're not like, I summon my.
I hit you with a chair. Win.
Like,
If I could only get off this bench.
I weren't so lazy, I would hit you in the mouth. But you are that lazy, right? Oh
Right?
yeah. Yeah. So essentially the Civil War never ended. But what did end up happening was, as the fighting went on, there was a huge earthquake that sort of shattered most of the area, or like California didn't really fall into the ocean, but it's now called the Maze. It's now just sort of a craggy, desolate, terrifying sort of maze. It's just a maze of like rock pillars and structures, right? But in said maze, people discovered what was called ghost rock. Ghost rock is essentially super fuel. It burns hotter than coal. It burns longer than coal. It can, if you refine it, do even crazier shit like Tesla coil guns and weird mad science stuff. So, ghost rock exists, and it has been used to, in the main settings, it's used more. I want us to be sort of a little bit before it gets too crazy. So I would say people know what ghost rock is, they've heard of it, and they kind of know new inventions are getting made by it, but like people aren't sure about, most people in the East wouldn't maybe have even seen ghost rock ever. But the railroads are using it. They play an important part in the setting because there is not currently a transcontinental railroad. There's not one company that has a line from east to west. There are, I think, 5 major railroads and a couple minor railroads that play a part in the setting. So those will play a part because essentially both the Confederacy and the Union have said whoever can create the first transcontinental railroad gets the exclusive ghost rock transport contract with the U.S. and Confederate governments. And so it basically means unlimited free money forever. Whereas I guess until nuclear fusion engines are invented, ghost rock seems to be better than, gasoline or natural. It's just better. So like we might as well just be in a, retro future where we have flying cars based on ghost rock. I will say, so the Civil War, I think, regardless of the timeline, I don't think it's actively going. I would say it's at the ceasefire. Just for everyone's context, as far as the actual settings, in Reloaded, they both exist as their own countries, although technically sort of the Union doesn't recognize the South as its own country per se, sort of a China-Taiwan type situation. Ooh, do we have any international listeners? How many international listeners do we have? We're going to get in trouble. I don't got to stay away from that topic.
Yeah, I mean, a fair amount.
If you're offended, I won't say my opinion on it. I'm just saying it's like that situation.
Yeah.
And so, but they're not at war. They're like not fighting
Tense
because
standoff.
essentially what happened was in Deadlands Reloaded, the essentially the South gets a bunch of Ghost Rock powered weapons and like obliterates the Union in a particular battle, but then the Union is like, oh shit, let's get in on it. And then they bought a bunch of scientists and Ghost Rock off to like get just like keep going. So then they were like, oh, this is going to be like a arms race to destruction. So let's just seize fire because there's all this other shit happening out west. So yeah, I'm jumping around because there's like a billion things to this setting that are different. So California, Los Angeles is now Lost Angels. Not much is known. You guys wouldn't know much about it at this point. There are rumors that someone is sort of leading the people in that area, even though it's sort of it's now basically cut off from all supply lines. There is a railroad, I think, that goes to it, but like it's pretty dangerous because you have to go through the maze of rocks and there's actually a bunch of creatures, like monstrous dinosaur-like creatures and shit that got revealed, which then goes to maybe the bigger, crazier part of the setting is that evil exists in a supernatural way, and so does good. But whenever the earthquake happened, Ghost Rock got discovered, all that stuff happened at the same time, everywhere, sort of simultaneously. Monsters, creepy crawlies, bad things, corruption, that whole sort of thing started happening everywhere. East Coast, not as much because there's enough sort of people. It's more settled and it's more, like colonized, right? So like there isn't as many wilds for things to hide anyway. But in the West, yeah, like areas started essentially getting like, it might look a little creepier. Trees might start losing leaves, right? It might be sort of sparse. The landscape, shadows are longer than they should be. So stuff that just kind of puts you ill at ease starts happening. Yes. Is that a hand
Are you
raise?
going to use that fear thing, right? So like where things are
Yep.
kind of normal, fear is 0. If like say the trees look kind of creepy, maybe that's like a fear 1 area. So we're going to use that system.
Yep. We're going to use the fear level. So at fear level 1, people are like, hey, I hear stories about monsters. I have never really seen one, and it's probably safe to go out at night. Fear level 2, people are like, I know someone who was eaten by a wendigo. And like
feels like a jump.
Like dark shit happens. Don't go out at night. But if you're like an armed guy, you're probably fine. Fear level 3, that's when it starts getting to be like, people start taking notice. Really bad stuff starts happening. Someone might go missing routinely versus kind of, I knew a guy who knew. It's like, my cousin got eaten by Wendigo, but like that could have been months ago. Fear 3 is like, people are starting to go missing like enough, and people are like freaked out by it. Like enough is happening for them to be paranoid. 4 is like,
More.
Oh no, you don't go out at night. You're gonna get eaten by werewolves. Like that's in the story. It doesn't matter. Like you're fucked. Don't go out. That's sort of 4. 5 is everything is so bad. It's literal hell on earth. Everything is dead. Nothing grows there. It's a complete barren hellscape filled with monsters and the most powerful supernatural creatures that want to do you harm can walk freely there. So it's
So we just won't go there then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
if
you
you-
avoid that.
yeah, you kind of don't want to go to fives. Fives are what's called a Deadlands. That's what it's
Oh.
for. It's dead.
Oh,
Those
there we go.
fives are Deadlands. It's like living in hell. It's literally a level of hell now. And what you get I guess for the players and not the characters, that's the whole thing is since this event happened, there are entities essentially trying to convert all of Earth to Deadlands so that they can walk the Earth again and torture humanity. Yeah, be generally malicious and evil because they get off on that and get energy from it. So these like sort of I don't know. I'm hitting us pretty early in the storyline. I don't know if anyone will be at a 5. So if you looked at the Weird West rules, they have sort of regions and the fear level. I think where you guys are starting, this is where I can talk about it. Would you rather it be sort of as it is now, earlier on, so you won't know as much as Weird West people are like, monsters exist and we fight them and we got to do a bunch of stuff and don't go here. There's a, whatever. There's a tribe of
Flesh
Wendigo.
golem.
Yeah, there's a flesh golem there. Don't go that way. And people aren't like you're a crazy person. So like Weird West people are probably a little more familiar with it. But the question is, do you want it to be? I was thinking maybe less fear levels because I'm kind of interested in seeing what would happen if if a group of sort of people out there trying to help and stop these things was going to try to circumvent what happened leading up to Reloaded. Because Reloaded, the bad guys have a pretty firm foothold.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if like there weren't super big bads yet? It was all still building up, but you guys could focus wherever you wanted. And sort of the overarching goal is regardless of that, the goal is for you guys to essentially lower the fear level in an area by doing heroic shit and then telling people about that heroic shit and having them get really excited and say, hey, there is good in the world.
Yeah.
That's your guys' job. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts? Like, how, like, is it are you good with it being like lower level to start and then it creeps as you're playing?
I like
Yeah,
that.
I like that idea.
Yeah. So we get a chance to at least make some change to it or not, depending. I mean, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I think there's some really interesting twists in Weird West that I find would be cool, but I like the idea of you guys, if you theoretically you could stop that from happening. You could stop some of the events in Reloaded or Weird West and remake sort of the setting. And so I kind of like the idea of you guys being able to do that based on what you think is like, we need to help these people. We need to go here versus anywhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's other agents. I mean, there's going to be other folks doing what you do. But you're the heroes, so even cooler stuff happens.
I mean, I feel like that's more interesting, right? Because then it's, not only do we get to be heroic and maybe stop some of these things, but also have the characters, come to terms and deal with, this horrible shit that's happening then.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I always think
it's a little more fun when when your characters are not 100% certain, like, what's going on at all. Like, it's like if you woke up in Shadowrun and you're like, wait, people literally cast spells now. What's fucking happening? Except in this case, that literally is happening, except in the West. So people on the East don't see it as often, but some people in the East might be. But like, people have real magic exists now. Hucksters are essentially wizards. Blessed are paladins or clerics. The dead literally walk. You are not allowed to start the game as a herald, but if you die in the game, you actually can be brought back as a revenant, essentially, to avenge some wrongdoing. that also has very interesting implications because you have to make a deal with the devil to do that, and that devil can take control of you at some times. So that's sort of the general setting. We're gonna have the North and the South are sort of Cold War. The West is very much neutral, regardless of what they say they are. So, like Kansas, I believe, is technically Union, but like Southerners are still starting shit and trying to like do terrorist acts to like rebel. Oklahoma, I think part of it is
So last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like today. It's like right now in America.
Right. Except we don't have cars. That's
yeah, there aren't cars. Exactly. There's no interstate.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, and so the other big thing is Native Americans didn't get
horribly slaughtered.
Didn't get completely fucking destroyed and banded together and also had magic help. So the Sioux nations own like the Dakotas and that sort of northern Midwest area of the US. They essentially were able to like, General Custer got defeated, and then they all were like, oh, also this is going to get worse. Like that was just the tip of the iceberg. We got to band together and like really start fucking putting everyone's, muscle into it. And then they, held off the Union Army at that point. But like they essentially are like, nope, sorry guys, we own our land. Like that's it. So Native Americans have the Sioux Nation, and I believe it's the
Crow Nation.
Yeah, the Crow Nation or the Lakota something is the other one's name. Sorry, I'm still learning.
Crow Nation, I think, is in the South, right? Because didn't they butt up next to where the Confederates were?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's in... Actually, let me open the map. I can tell you from that. Download it here. I did not.
I think it's in the book.
It is. I'm just having like the worst time in the world finding it. So I can show you this. Maybe. Okay. So if this would load.
Find it or you didn't find it?
Roll20 is not my friend. What's happening?
129 in the book.
Fighting.
Let's see. Sioux Nations.
All right. Oh, the Coyote Confederation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. I put this on Roll20 and freaking load. It won't load the images. All right, so why?
None of that's coming through.
Really?
Yeah. It might be it might be the limiter then, because like when your voice is pitched a little bit lower, it seems to be when it's cutting out. Like when you're up and more vocal into the mic, that doesn't seem to drop.
But what program would that be doing it in is my problem.
I mean, StreamYard has a volume. What does
I don't think it
have?
has a limiter though.
No echo cancellation.
Okay, so it is the Coyote Confederation is basically half of Oklahoma. The southeastern half, or like there's a little bit of a weight toward the southeast, but it's basically half of Oklahoma. Confederates are the rest of the Confederates. Texas is sort of its own deal. They kind of, I think they're part of the Confederacy, but they do a lot of their own shit too. Utah is now called Deseret, which is run by Mormons. Shockingly enough, the Sioux Nation is basically the Dakotas and Nebraska. So the Sioux Nation basically now has everything north of Colorado, barring some of Montana, and Minnesota is still part of the U.S. So that is sort of the map. I don't know if I can share screen or not. Can I share screen on this? Maybe. Yep, present. Here, I can show you.
Nothing. None of that's coming through.
Really?
That came through. Could be the Wi-Fi because your picture looks frozen. Uh-oh. Did we lose Neil? God damn it.
Yeah, we
Come
did.
back to us.
Are you asking if I'm good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Oh, you were kind of like shaking your head, kind of
That's
throwing
so
your
weird.
hands around.
I don't
Because
understand.
I'm
So
like
yeah.
I'm like reading stuff. I'm trying to get the lore and then look at like character stuff in the book, and I don't understand things, so naturally I got frustrated with myself.
Oh, we don't want your email, do you?
No.
Why are we sharing? I'm going to remove that.
Well, I was gonna share, but I was trying to find where I had the Deadlands map.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll put it back. Don't read Neil's emails.
Still up?
Did you grab the right tab? All right, I'm going to remove again.
I'll remove. I didn't let me choose the tab the first time. There we go. I want this one. I think. I'm sure I didn't have anything exciting in any of those emails anyway. Okay.
If you're saying stuff, it's not coming through.
Really? So yeah, if I
There you
talk
go.
like that, it just doesn't. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't pick me up if I'm not yelling. Or I'll just be real close. So that's the map currently that of where you're operating. So anything east of the Mississippi is sort of handled. Yeah, technically, I think the Confederacy goes all the way to. This is looking like they even sort of hold California-ish, or maybe to Arizona, but they don't. There's not much going on here as far as the war. It's kind of closed down. So this is where California sort of fell in. That's the maze right here. All the ghost rock in that oceany area. This is it's like the Commonwealth of Deseret, I think. It's sort of a Mormon leader rose up and said, like, oh, we have a destiny. This is ours now. Screw yeah, I don't know. We'll do whatever we want. Forget the government. I don't know. Kansas, Colorado, and Oklahoma are pretty divided. I guess there's a lot. That's where a lot of the now fighting, quote unquote, in that Cold War happens. Is people leaning toward Union or Confederacy, and causing trouble. Sioux Nation's up here, this chunk. Sioux Nation. And then I don't remember what's in the Northeast. If they focus on it much. There's not a lot going on in the Washington, Oregon areas. Oh, you're muted, Jim.
Oh, sorry, I was talking to my kid. My bad.
Oh.
Oh, I was like, you were also talking into the mic, so I was like, oh, yeah. So this, I have it on Roll20. I'll see if I can ever get it to load the map, but I'd had the map as the background. That we
You
could
have to shoot
use.
us a link for that too, or an invite
Yeah.
to that game. We can all add it.
Yeah, I was just gonna see if I had like why it's not. For some reason, it just doesn't like it.
Could be.
Just doesn't like it today. Like my computer's starting to kind of freak out when I have Roll20 up. Which is interesting. Yeah, so essentially now Ghost Rock is a thing. It would be less common than I would say in most of the settings as far as like Ghost Rock powered technologies, although mad scientists exist. If you want to be a mad scientist, then you would have even more access, obviously, because you would be inventing things. That's sort of where you get your quote arcane classes, essentially, is like mad scientist can like create inventions, shaman have magic abilities, or they can they have magic spells, hucksters, blessed, and I think chi masters are limited to, or key masters are limited to like more martial abilities, but still have stuff they're able to do that's, like theoretically impossible. What else? I mean, other than that, other than monsters and stuff, typical Old West. It's the actual Old West. So yeah, as I said earlier, the Wyatt Earp is in Dodge City. Like Doc Holliday exists. Cornelius Vanderbilt is building one of the railroads. So like historical figures for the most part are around and exist. To my limit of historical knowledge / desire to look up things Wyatt Earp actually did and what was just in Tombstone or whatever. Yeah, some of it might be made up out of every movie I've seen. So yeah. Yeah, so all those folks are just, out and about, little towns. Most people go by train if you can. Stagecoaches regularly run, and obviously riding horses is an option. That is your lower tier option, unless you absolutely have to, because you do have to make fatigue rolls for riding any long distances. It's actually really, really like it exhausts you to ride a horse all day for 4 days in a row. You have to sort of rest a little bit. You're kind of using a lot of energy doing that. So,
they're probably super expensive too, right? To own or have a horse, right?
Well, yeah, because then you're gonna have to like stable it and feed it and have supplies for it. So, yeah, you could hire a stagecoach versus riding horses, unless the horses you're just like, oh, we're these and we're gonna bring them back. Like, oh, we're gonna go up to that village in the mountains. We'll bring your horses back, Sheriff. Then that's okay too. But yes, I would say generally they are expensive. You will get, assuming everyone joins the opportunity, that will be session 1. If you don't, I don't know why you would spend time listening to all of this. because if you don't join, you're probably not in the game. But you join, you will get like pay for that. So this game actually does like sort of keep track of like every month you'll get $30 or whatever if you're this rank, or have been with the organization this long. So there is some amount of like outside of stuff you might loot from people depending on your moral compass. You know, this world, I guess that's the other thing that I'm not used to. This isn't murder hobo world, because like murder hobos would actually be hunted down by a posse and strung up. There is no like we happened to murder some people that may or may not have been innocent. We were pretty sure they were bad, but we murdered them and took all of their stuff. You're probably getting hung. Just saying. Yeah, stealing a horse, that's a hanging. Murder, obviously.
That's a hanging.
That's a hanging. And then, yeah. So punishments out there are pretty brutal. And if you it does make a special note, if you piss off townspeople enough and are just fucking ridiculous, actual lynch mobs are not stopped. Like, the sheriff will be like, that's 100 people from hanging you right now because you are a witch. That's another thing. People are super. Yeah, there is magic now, so although you can be a witch for real, literally, and cast spells, people could mistake you for monsters. Given some murder hobos penchant for they'd be like, that guy has to be possessed by a demon. We gotta hang and burn him now.
That's a hanging.
That's a hanging. And they'll just be like, and the sheriff's like, oopsie, nothing I can do. So yeah, he just so you're in sort of the real world with real world consequences. There's ways to make money, and obviously, you know, maybe your organization can help with some things, but for the most part, you're on your own. So yeah,
that's the way we like it.
That's the setting in general. What are your guys' thoughts? If you have questions, obviously, are also welcome.
No, I mean, got it. Wild West, monsters. Things aren't quite the same. We probably shouldn't burn towns down. Noted.
Got it. Nailed it.
Probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you never know if
True.
you might have to.
Yeah, I mean, let's put a pin in that.
Like, you don't want to commit to anything fully, right? Like, this is the first date.
Yeah.
You order the salad.
I mean, you say that, and I am like, well, in this setting, an entire town could be like possessed, or like a whole town could have been converted to vampires. Vampires are real. Like, it could be whatever that fucking Netflix show that everyone liked that I did not like. That was Haunting at Hill House. Guy did the Midnight.
I like that one.
I didn't like
Midnight Mass. Yeah, I like
Midnight
that
Mass. Yeah, you know, it's like all these people are starting to get turned into a cabal of vampires. Maybe you got to burn that whole town down. Sometimes that spoiler alert. Oops.
Right. We'll burn that bridge when we get there.
I'll
That's
save you
been out for a while.
I'll save you the
Literally.
time. I'll save you the time, guys. If you want to see Midnight Mass, just go to one Midnight Mass. It will save you. I just felt like I felt like if I wanted to go to church, I would. Whatever the guy's name in wrote and directed. I was like, this is just sermons. This whole show is sermons. Where is the monster? Or what's scary? It just never showed up until like episode 6 out of 8. Killing me. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't dig it. I wasn't into it. Yes. So you could have to burn a whole town down. Don't rule it out. But just do it judiciously. Choose your moment.
There you go. Yeah.
You get somebody to sign off on that shit.
So the biggest thing is, like, I don't think I'm worried about it. It doesn't seem like we have a bunch of folks interested in mage type like magic folks. So it really depends on how much magic you want. I will say it's a setting where it exists and monsters exist. I'm not saying you have to have a magic user. I'm just saying it might not hurt to have one in some cases, only because weird shit's gonna happen. And I assume most of it is built with some martial or clever way. Like you can either attack it straight up, or I don't know what you do to a wraith, right? Be touched. I'm not 100% sure if you don't have like a mad science gun or like a ghost rock powered gun or something maybe, but you might not be able to shoot it with a gun. But I'm sure Savage Worlds doesn't have too many things that you couldn't fight if you didn't have a magic user.
Yeah, shotgun with the salt rock salt.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
we got it.
I mean, there's always ritual. I mean, and you could like look up stuff ahead of time if you knew what you were fighting, right? So you don't need to be, but if we do have one, I didn't want to have like 4. I didn't necessarily want to start with like huckster, shaman, preacher. And then I'm like, oh fuck, every single person has like spell book limits, and like the mechanics are insane for running that many. And then also you probably just get punched and fall over because you can't have very much strength. You have to put all your shit into like focus and spirit, or you're gonna suck. So yeah, so anything goes. The concept, the characters may not necessarily, like I said in the chat, the players, an organization has been essentially canvassing the country along with their normal operations to identify people who they believe would be valuable in an effort to investigate and potentially solve these supernatural encounters that seem to be happening out west. And so all of your characters at some point in the recent past, probably month, someone that either knows you, like not like your best friend, but like someone you might know. So like Jesse was thinking about preacher or like outlaw turned preacher. If you're preaching, maybe just someone comes up to you after a sermon and was like, I really liked your sermon. I've been coming to here. You're really inspirational. And hands you this flyer. And it's like, are you, looking for an opportunity to change your life, once in a lifetime offer? And like city, the town theater, like where they put on shows, theater type stuff at noon on this day. And for some reason it looks legit. So I guess if there's something much more persuasive you would like me to make up, other than like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to change your fate or whatever, I would hope it's movie plot armor, plot device enough to just be like, wow, I'm looking to do that. But someone gave it to you because they heard something. Maybe they overheard you talking. Maybe they just got a feeling about you. Could be a bunch of things. They give you this flyer. You've shown up to that theater. That's sort of the premise to start.
Well, so do we want to, Jesse, you want to throw out your idea then?
Yeah.
As far as what you're thinking character-wise?
Sure. So mine's kind of changed a little bit since the original inception. Now I am actually thinking of going like more towards actual, like, and originally he was just going to take on the appearance of a priest or a preacher. I think now it's going to be like actual like gunslinger, like heard the word of God, turned, but more in line with like only because like he knows the evil that's out there, like the literal evil, not like the like
Oh, not
actual
the supernatural.
supernatural.
Oh,
Right.
I was like,
So,
does he know?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
wait, no.
no. So he knows there's like the supernatural evil out there, right? And it's more of that type of thing, more of like a preacher or John Constantine sort of thing.
Sure.
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely. I mean, you could 100% with that. I mean, it even actually says you don't even have to be particularly faithful to necessarily be blessed. Sometimes, God works mysterious ways and will bless someone who seemingly is a bad person, but has the capability to do great things. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Kind of like it can do that as well. But in this case, if you act, it would sort of be up to you whether you wanted that to be whether you're transitioning and you actually are less of a preacher, more of a gunfighter who now suddenly does actually have these powers.
Yeah.
But no, and here's like you had like a moment, right? Like a vision. And that's what made you think it's religious. But then now you fully believe like oh my God, I got these powers and like God wants me to do these things, but you're like new to it. Or you could be gunfighter who's like, I changed my heart. I want to do good. And you are actually rewarded. And you're like, oh my God, God has granted me the ability.
Nope, that's a minor right there. You can't take the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're taking a minus. That's a minus. Yeah, so you literally are bound by God's rules, though. I'm not saying like you can.
I actually kind of like the combination of the two, right? Where he has been almost against his will blessed. I'm thinking like I can't remember the character name, but the woman from Dogma. You know how?
Yeah.
He comes down and he's like, "You are the chosen." She's like, "No, I don't want to be." And I feel that was like his. If we did like a flashback scene, it would be him like drinking in a bar after killing some dude in a high noon duel, and like Michael shows up and it's like, "You were the chosen," and he's like, "Ah, shit," and it's like, "No, I don't." And he walks around town for the next hour with the archangel over, like floating behind him, being like, "You must fight for the word of God," and he's like, "No, fuck you, I don't want to."
Get away.
You can't make me.
Right. So he is bound by God, like by whatever, and like. So he's still held to the standards, but doesn't want to be, but he knows he needs to be. So.
Okay. Yeah.
But that could lead to a really cool scene where you bury your fucking shooting irons in a box underneath the porch when you finally fully commit. Not gonna.
Oh no, he's still got them.
You better save that.
The vengeful side of God.
You gotta save those bearing those irons for like when you do like when you murder someone out of not in self-defense and you really got to get out of God's shit house.
I can imagine like he was chosen for this because he was just like not necessarily a ruthless killer, but he was really good at killing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need you on our side.
Yeah, like hey, I like it. I like the sometimes you got to fight fire with fire.
Michael floats around on front and goes, hey, focus, monster, hit the monster.
Shaking some keys in front of you, like, hey, come on, keys.
Your archangel looks like Alan Rickman in my head now, too. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Metatron,
Deal.
or whatever he said.
Yeah, so that would be awesome. And so what you essentially get is you can take some extra edges as well and hindrances that are particularly for magic stuff. But essentially, you're going to need the Savage Worlds book more than most people because basically what you get is 15 power points.
Yep.
And access to we'll have to look on character creation page, but like a certain number of spells. I think you get one spell you always know. One spell
I have holy symbol,
yes,
and then I
holy
get
symbol,
to choose
and you
two
get
others.
two more, and
Yeah.
those are just from like the spells in Savage Worlds. There's a giant list,
Oh,
and they
okay.
said you can kind of tailor it, so it's meant to be generic, right? So like, it said, for instance, like the spell bolt, right, which shoots just like it could be like they were like, oh, ice mage might shoot an icicle. A keymaster might be doing the like punch where like the air moves, like you're pushing the air like an actual punch. So it essentially allows you to then reskin any of those spells into like if you want it to look different, or like how would it be manifested as like a cleric spell versus a wizard spell? Would something like lay on hands, is there an actual like glow or not? Whatever you want it to be. And you can kind of describe that sort of stuff to sort of give the flavor. But yeah, you can get any of, I think all the spells are in the Savage Worlds book, though. I don't think any of them are in the Weird West book. Only has what's it called? Edges and hindrances that you can take.
Yeah, new ones specific for the setting or whatever.
Yeah. So you can specifically take there's a couple, but you do have to take, so you will take as your background edge would be arcane background blessed, which means you have to have a D6 in spirit and a D4 in faith minimum.
Yep.
Right. And then you then have the option of anything that then says, I believe it's background miracle. Miracles. Any spell that can be miracles, or trait that can be miracles, that's what you could also take if you are going for your edges.
Right.
There are some edges. So edges, right, are basically D&D traits, and hindrances are D&D flaws. You have stats that are like your attributes, your normal stats, and then you have skills, right, that modify and are cheaper to buy. So it's basically that the system works by die size, essentially. So if you have 0, I think you might roll 2.
You're at a -2.
Yeah.
Right? So if you try to use a skill that you don't have, you're at a -2.
Got it. Yeah. And then you just roll a D. Everyone has a D4 in something you can use untrained. There are some things, right? Like you can't be like, well, I'm going to appraise this diamond. I have no gemology knowledge whatsoever. Let me put on this jeweler's eye. It looks like a diamond. Throw 200 gold. Like you just can't do that at all, right? But if it's a generic thing, you roll it, a D4 -2. If you have a point, your first point you buy into a skill gets you to D4, then D6, D8, D10, D12.
If you want to buy, like, so if you have a agility at D6, your skills cost 1 point, so your D4 is 1 point, your D6 is 1 point. But then if you wanted to bump that to an 8, it would cost you 2 points because you're going above what your natural ability is.
Yeah. So if you only have something at a D4, when you're trying to buy a skill related to it, it's going to get more and more expensive if you don't level your attribute. But you can spend points to level attributes. Again, just like it's not like D&D where it's at certain times. It's like every other game where buying a stat up costs more experience points than buying a skill up, right? So so you don't really change back and forth. You don't modify. Like I usually am having you roll a skill roll unless you're climbing a ladder. That would just be your strength, most likely, right? That sort of thing. So if it's an attribute based, I'll have you roll those the traits. But mostly it's going to be skills based on those. I'm trying to think if there's anything character wise. I would say, I would like to tailor this somewhat to the group versus you tailoring to what missions I might randomly come up with. So like, don't feel like you have to cover every skill if it makes no sense for like, I don't know, I guess I'll take Portuguese art history because no one else has it. It's like, well, I just won't put that in as a clue if no one has it. Someone's gonna have to shoot, but I don't think that's a problem. You're gonna have to shoot things almost guaranteed. There is the game does differentiate though between single and double action weapons. There are literal mechanics for single action revolvers and double action revolvers. So double action revolvers, you can take the edge, fan the hammer, where you flip all 5, and you can shoot multiple targets. I think you shoot 5, or you shoot all 6 rounds in one turn, with a penalty to accuracy. You have to be seasoned for that, but yeah, it's you roll, each shot is a shooting die at -4, so okay, but you fire 6 shots and a wild die, so you always roll your either skill or attribute die and a d6 wild die. You take the highest.
And the ace. So if you roll the top number on any die, you roll it again, and you continue to roll it until it doesn't come up as the top
explodes.
Die.
Yep. If the shooting die comes up 1 or 2, the actual die, not minus the 4, you hit an innocent bystander. There's an improved fan the hammer that's just -2. So there is that. And then double actions, I believe, get something like double tap, where you can fire 2 shots at a shorter, or like with a penalty to it, but not as much.
Might be a -2. Probably makes sense.
I have to look at it. I am double actions. Yes, it is. It's double tap edge. Why did that not show up? I was in that section, man.
And then there's also not necessarily shooting related, but there is also a multi-action penalty. So if you wanted to, jump on a horse and then shoot, your shooting would be at a minus, you'd be at a -2 for that. There's edges that reduce that. So like if you have it's a gun
-2
thing.
There is what's it called? Two weapon fighting, right?
Yeah.
Two weapon fighting, right? But I think it's a -2 to both, and 2 weapon fighting takes the negative off your dominant hand, but I'm not positive.
I forget. Yeah.
I'll look it up. I'll make sure.
But you do get there is a certain level of free action, which didn't used to be that way. So if you wanted to draw a pistol and shoot, that used to be a multi-action penalty. They did away with that.
Yeah.
So now you can, anything, like D&D, anything that's close on your person that you can easily grab, you can do as a free action. So you can, draw a pistol and then shoot without taking that multi-action. Yeah. And I think you can move your pace.
Yes, you can
do
move
an action.
Yes, you do get a move. You get a move, an standard action, and a free action. Yes. So like drawing a gun, that's a free action. Yeah.
Opening a door, I guess.
Yeah. Anything, getting something out of a backpack, probably not. Right. Having something on your gun belt, you're probably grabbing that pretty quick.
Grab that speed loader.
Yeah. But I think they have I think those are available to buy. I still can't find the double tap power, which is weird. Unless it's it's probably in Savage Worlds. This is the problem with this system, is now I have to go to the other rule book. But anyway, so Single action revolvers, you can fan the hammer and have a very little. I don't know why you would do that. Jesus, I didn't realize the penalty was that bad. A -4 seems terrible. But you could get bonuses. You can get bonuses because of the situation. You can get pluses as well, I guess. And you
Joker,
get
you're at +2.
yeah. So there's some ways you could do it anyway. But and then double tap is you shoot in 2 rapid succession or 2 shots in rapid succession. It adds a +1 to hit and damage at the cost of an extra bullet. So it makes you more likely to hit, but only really does 1 extra damage. It doesn't do an extra shot. And it can be used with 3-round burst, which is interesting.
But that's also nice though, because if you ace your damage plus the 1, right, you're increasing your odds to hit, and just hitting could make all the difference.
Hitting hurts in this game, so you usually are not getting tromped on a lot, but sometimes you're going to take a hit. So that double tap is with the double action. Both can be used for duels, and that is where the most fun mechanic of this game to me. For initiative, just for instance, you draw cards, playing cards, and you go ace, king, queen, jack 10, blah, all the way down, and whoever gets whatever card, in that order goes first, second, third. I have a roll 20 that I've built decks, like a little card deck that we can use to actually do this. But even crazier than initiative, that's pretty simple. We could do that without needing any fancy equipment. The actual duel, the way you play a duel in this game, you challenge someone at high noon. Each character gets 2 cards, and then you're playing Texas Hold'em. It's basically Texas Hold'em. You each get 2 cards you get to look at. You can do actions to psych the person out and give them additional penalties and give yourself bonuses at each stage that you would normally bet. So, you don't have to ante because you anteed up by joining the duel, but you can taunt and stuff. You throw the 3 river cards and flip them, and then you can taunt. You can do whatever. Flip again. At the end, whoever has the best hand wins that duel and shoots the other person for an exceptional amount of damage. I don't remember right offhand what the bonus is. I think it's double or +6 or something insane. Oof. It might as well be double for most things. You almost probably aren't going to survive a duel if you duel. Here's the kicker, though. If you feel like you've won at any time, including on those first 2 cards, and you think, I got a pair of aces, I can take that guy. I want to double check, but I was pretty sure you can say, fuck it, I draw. And you flip your cards. You don't get the river. You don't get
the turn,
whatever the other 2 cards are called that I never remember.
Turn in the river.
Yeah. But you literally, it would be like, I've got 2 aces, and if the other person has a worse hand than those 2 aces, you don't flip the rest and say, we're going to play like you're playing it out. You just say, call, I draw and shoot. There's nothing that happens after a man draws a gun. There ain't no cards left after the gun's drawn. So anytime, 2 cards, once the river's thrown, next card. I mean, the next card, you're dueling it out anyway. But that's how duels work. An actual game of Texas Hold'em.
So pre-flop, when you get your 2 cards, you can call it right there and nothing else happens. We just go for what the 2 of you have. Okay.
Yep. That's called the ballsy. I mean, that's why I said, if you had 2 aces, Maybe you call that right then, because it's not you have to beat their hand at the end of it. It's you have to beat what's in their hand.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Jesse, you might want to take healing. Jim's really excited.
I just wrote it down.
I'm just saying, if you pre-flop any pair, you got a good chance. I'm just
I
saying
know.
it's in my head.
But that's the thing. But if you're wrong and he's
Right.
faster than you, that's where they kind of play the betting taunting stuff. Is like, sure, you think you're fast, but are you that fast?
Mm.
You know, that's why I thought that is a fun mechanism. Just because it's insane. Let's see. Let me just double check. Oh yeah, so you can do taunt and
Probably intimidation, maybe. I didn't read the dual
One sec.
rules.
yeah, you can do anything except make an actual attack. Maybe you only do flop then the other two. Wait, they have changed this. They have definitely changed this. Sorry, this is not the new dueling rules.
Hmm.
The new dueling rules are on the first. Before the start of the first round, each duelist a whole card face down. Just one, though.
Hmm.
Some add the number of whole cards you get. Interesting.
I think there's edges that'll change the number of cards you get too.
Yeah, so I'm now lying because I don't know if they let you do that. On the first and second round, the Bloodthirsty Series 2 participants and bystanders who want to get involved are dealt an action card. So you get an action, you can do anything except for attack. That's the third and final round. Tests. Distracted and vulnerable conditions remain until the end of the third round. A raise on a test doesn't shake a duelist. Instead, the attacker can either draw a new whole card or force the foe to randomly discard one of theirs. Ignore this if it's his last card. Everyone finishes with at least one. Critical fail when making resisting a test also gives the foe an additional whole card. Bystanders can support an ally. Testing a duelist foe is frowned on. And might even discredit the ally, depending on how obvious it is. But it can be done. Allies don't get to affect either duelist's whole card, however, and have no additional effect on a raise. So they can fuck with stuff, but not... You just don't want it to be obvious, and they technically can't do anything to change a whole card. So I don't know why you would mess around. The start of the third round, don't deal action cards to the duelists. Do it to bystanders. Instead, both characters simultaneously reveal the whole card of their choice, usually the highest. That's their action card for this round and determines who goes first. Duels are voluntary by Frontier Custom, so firing first isn't generally considered murder. If the duelist doesn't want to shoot first, though, he can let the other draw and try to interrupt him before he fires. See Hold in Savage Worlds, but a Joker doesn't automatically interrupt an action in a duel. It also adds +2 to the hero's athletics roll. So yeah, I don't... If the attacker has one or more additional whole cards higher than his foes, he adds a single D6 to the damage of the first shot and ignores bonus damage he shoots more than once. So I don't know. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, we could always use the old rules if you want.
Yeah, I might go back to the old one. I just don't have them open on this. I need to don't think I have them on this PC. Anyway, so duels will be some sort of card-based game. I like it the other way, I think. So
Yeah,
probably
that
do it the
doesn't
other way.
matter.
So yeah, that's something that happens. Other stuff that happened in the Wild West happens. There are bandits. There are fucking horse rustlers. There's general bad guys as well as legitimate actual monsters and people who are also monsters who are made even worse by the corruptive energy in their environment. So it's a real win-win. So yeah.
Do we want to, John? Do you want to? You said it seemed like you had a pretty good idea of what you're going on for your character. You want to throw stuff out?
I think so. I guess when I'm putting points into attributes and skills, like how is you said when you call for a role, you're going to be calling for a skill. But what if you don't have like the skill that you're calling for? You just go to the attribute. I guess I'm trying to figure out the relationship between skills and attributes.
Then you would do the attribute -2. Actually, I think if you don't have the skill, it's whatever attribute governs it is a D4 -2.
Yeah, and then you always get your wild die as well, right?
So
or maybe not if you don't have the skill. Maybe if you don't have the skill, you don't get it.
No, if you don't have the skill, I'm pretty sure you're always, as a wild card, you're always rolling that D6.
So you have to have. So I guess I'll put it this way: for anything that there's an actual skill listed for, you need that skill to be able to do it. Or if you're trying it, it's a D4 -2.
Right, so like if you want to pilot a boat and we don't have boating, it's a D4 -2.
Yeah.
Where we go over the falls.
But if you had 1 point in that, you would just roll the D4. So your attribute only matters if no skill pertains. Like, let's do a push-up contest. I would just roll your strength, not your... There is no push-up skill, right? So then you would roll just your attribute dies, like whatever one you have, like a D8, D6. But the reason you want higher stats is it's 1 point to buy a new skill point every time, except when it's beyond your attribute.
You hit the attribute. Yeah, so I guess that's where I was. That was my confusion. So if you call for a skill roll and you don't have the skill, it doesn't default to the attribute.
No. Yeah, it's a D4
no. It's not. It's not like D&D where you're like, give me a stealth, and I was like, I don't have stealth, but I'm still rolling, a dexterity.
Yeah.
No, like if a skill is called, you need that skill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's almost impossible to cover all the skills anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think in the Star Wars game, I pretty much boiled it down to like my optimal character would have like 3 really good skills. And then like 3 to 4, like I have a point just in case I need to like, but yeah, I usually didn't cover a ton. Once you sort of get levels, you can buy more up, obviously, but yeah.
Well, and some stuff, right? Like it's just, I want to, I don't know, punch this guy. There's some things you don't really need to worry about rolling the thing for, right? Like the skills are going to be the stuff that's going to cover when you're like, oh, we need to shoot the monster. I need to like jump off this roof. I need to, like do the heroic thing is where the skills are really going to,
come into play.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, usually that's the way we
well, I mean,
so like if you don't take
shooting
skill, can you not shoot? Or like
you're
just rolling a D4 minus wild die.
Yeah.
Plus
the
wild die.
wild die you roll regardless, and it's always a D6.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So that
will also be at the -2.
Okay, so it's the D4 and the D6, everything at a -2.
Yeah.
If you don't take the shooting skill, like if you're shooting. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, which when I think about it, I was like, I don't know, that seems kind of crazy, but then I'm like, I've seen people try to shoot for the first
that makes
time,
sense.
and they're real bad.
Yeah,
they're so bad at it.
You don't want to be in the area unless you're solid.
Okay, so I'm like, I get it. Yeah.
So
Would go
that's
poorly.
helpful. I was wondering what the relationship was like when you call for a roll.
Yep.
I've the first time I've dealt with the Savage World system. So
Probably the first time listeners have dealt with it.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd have to keep thinking about it. I don't know if I'm building a viable character or not.
I mean, I'm less.
I heard
worried
something about
about
once.
that.
Yeah. I heard something about once you die, you can come back anyway. So right?
You can with other special characteristics.
Just sniffed some ghost rock dust and you'll get jolted away.
It'll be fine.
I
It'll be
don't
fine.
remember the which they do. People do snort and smoke ghost rock. It apparently gets you really high, and I think they claim you can get some mild magical abilities. The people believe they can. I don't know if it's actually defined that they can, but I know it's used as a drug.
Oh, I have a new character concept.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Although you're
Ghost
fine.
dust junkie.
I mean, you could be a mad scientist junkie.
Right.
No?
But listen, just to let you know, I can't get resurrection until heroic levels. So we gotta wait.
We got pills
That's
for
a
that,
while.
though.
So
That's a while.
we got a while.
Noted.
Well, that aside, what's your character idea, John?
I like the idea of an explorer. Like I was just reading through some of the stuff. So what I did, hacking my way through it was because when you take hindrances, you get has to equal 4 points of hindrances, 1 for a minor and 2 for a major. Correct? Did I read that right?
Well, you could take up to 4.
Yeah, so I have 3 hindrances, 2 minor and 1 major. So that basically gives me 4 points.
Yep.
To add on to the no. Yeah, right? 4 points, but I don't add it to the 5. It's like 2.
So
like
you
two-
could spend 2 points to up a die type for your attribute, or
Yeah.
you can spend 1 point to get extra money at character creation, or you can spend 1 point to up a die type for your skill. So if you
Alright.
have 4, you could bump your attribute twice or 2 attributes once.
So it's like saying you have 7 attribute points.
you
if I
could
had-
you could do it that way. Yeah.
Because I was going down the steps, literally,
Right.
or
Right.
chronologically, and that's how I read it. So I did attribute points equaling 7. So I've got like a D8 in agility, being an
Mhm.
explorer, and then a D6 in smarts, spirit, strength, and then another D8 in vigor. So
Mhm.
like that, I just don't know if that's wise or if I should like take some of that back and redo my skills because I bumped my notice up above where I had my smarts, so that one cost me 2 points. So I got a D8, because those the 5 that are sort of in on the character sheet, you get D4s in those automatically.
Yeah, stealth,
I read that correctly.
persuasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bumped
Notice.
a couple of those up, and then I took I used points to buy D6s in survival, fighting, and shooting, because he's going to be sort of
Pretty
like a brawler type guy. But I took the shooting because I got worried when you said there's going to be gunfights. I'm like, okay, I got to take shooting.
Well, I'm just saying it's the Wild West. You don't
Yeah.
have to shoot guns.
So
I just
didn't know.
figure there's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of guns.
Yeah, so now I'm sort of at this point where because
I also don't know of an explorer who wouldn't be able to use a rifle real well.
Yeah, I really want to do that though. I'm like right here, just being like because I was the edges and hindrances were super interesting to me, and I was like, I was kind of having like
so
paralysis.
that's the kicker. You get an edge for free, but those hindrance points that you're getting from the hindrances, those buy edges too.
Yeah.
So it's 2
Oh, that's
points
true,
for
too.
an edge.
Yeah.
So
If
you
I
could
don't
get-
use them,
if you don't use them for
Okay.
So if there's
Well,
an edge that you really want, then you
So I because I felt like I was sort of like falling into this sort of melee brawler type like asshole. The don't get him riled edge was kind of cool because it adds like that D6 or whatever it adds. I'd have to read it again, but
yeah.
Then I have to read I took a Knack Stormborn, which is I forgot already what it is. Shit.
You get some kind of bonus. I think
Yeah,
it's when you
intimidation bonus
yeah,
or something.
right. Yeah, I when I spend a Benny to do something with fear, I get like a bonus against fear, which sort of made sense.
Yeah, and you ignore the.
Yeah. But the one I really liked, the hindrance I really liked was Death Wish. So I swiped that one up. Not that it says specifically in it, like I'm not suicidal, but like it's like if when it comes right down to it, I'm gonna throw myself at a problem, and that kind of fit in line with what I was thinking. But yeah, the shooting thing, I'm on this balancing act here right now. It's like, do I take it just because it'll be helpful, and that's obviously what, or do I just let it go and just have that just be a thing? But I don't know.
Oh, that's
Is his
it's
name going to be
tough.
Huxley?
No, I think it would literally be more like, I'm not using a gun. I'm just gonna get, if you can't shoot me before I get to you, I'm gonna pummel the shit out of you. Like that type of thing. You know?
Plus, I think pretty much any melee weapon is
bought
you're fighting. So
I bought brass
knife,
knuckles.
axe,
I got brass knuckles, a knife, and a whip so far, and I'm down to like $87 of the $250 that you get. Oh, well, because I bought a horse too.
Ooh.
How much was the horse?
$150.
Well, you're an explorer, so you need your own horse.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes
so I
sense.
bought the horse. So and then I bought a brass knuckles, a knife, and a whip.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm already liking this
Taking it.
guy.
Yeah. So that's kind of okay. All right. So it's.
I mean, yeah, you could always make.
Oh,
it
the
part of
gun.
your-
Yeah, the gun thing. I didn't know. I'm reading all the guns, and I'm like, what is all this? Like, there isn't just like gun. So do I?
No.
So I'll have to go in and like
It's
research.
just a gun.
Like, what is single action? What is? I'm sure it probably explains it in the book. I just haven't gotten to that point.
Yeah. That's so single action revolvers are why you can do gun tricks safely. In my opinion, I guess some people would argue with me that you could do them with a really hard poundage trigger pull for like a double action, but you're going to kill yourself most likely sometime. So like, how you're like flipping guns around, right? And the trigger, it doesn't matter. A single action, if that hammer is still flat, you can do whatever the hell you want. That nothing happens. Just whatever.
Yeah.
Then once you cock it back, the trigger is ready and you can
gotcha.
fire. But that's why you see in Old West movies, they're holding the trigger down and you just like bang, 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 bang. They're flipping the hammer back. That's because there's very little resistance to pull it back comparative to a double action.
Probably.
So that's why they say you can do fan the hammer, which is you literally take all 5 of your fingers, and there's trick shooters that do this where you like hit the hammer with each finger as you roll it.
Right. You just
And
hold the trigger in place, so it goes into an automatic release.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's a single action. Double action is you can cock it and fire it if you have a single action, double action. But it basically means you pull that trigger, it shoots. It pulls the hammer back and
lets it go.
Releases it all in one trigger pull, one motion, one action. That's the double
So
action.
in theory, if somebody wanted to dual wield, they'd probably want double actions. So they wouldn't have to also screw around with the hammer.
And dual wield with single action, but it's harder.
Yeah.
You just have to cock the hammer, but you do that with your thumb. You don't need to.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's less optimal. I would say. I don't know. I've done it with like a Magnum, but double action. I've done it, but it's.
I'm just saying. Tell Wild Bill Hickok that.
That's true.
It might make more sense that I have a rifle. Then that might make more sense.
Yeah, I would
Ooh,
say
there
like
you go.
you could definitely have like carbine could make sense.
Sharps 55.
These are all nonsense words to me. What is it?
So it's a 57 caliber. Oh no, it's a black powder weapon. You don't want.
Well, I looked up carbine and I see what looks like that can't be right. We're in
John.
the Old West. Yep.
Don't worry, me and you are in similar boats where I just have a window open and every one I'm Googling is like, which one looks cooler?
Yeah. I like some of the names. Like I like Sharp's Big 50. Like I like
Ooh.
that.
Ooh.
What
Yeah.
the hell is that?
The Sharps
Yeah.
rifle was I mean, I don't know in the game, but the Sharps rifle was more for a long range type rifle. I think it was chambered in 50 caliber, but it had I want to say it was a Magnum load on it, so it would fire further and hit harder. Buffalo hunters were real popular with
Yeah,
them.
it's
I see. It's like a long gun.
yeah, it's a
like
big
long
gun. It's like
Yeah.
a really long. So
Sharp's
so that's
Big
why
50 Buffalo rifle. Yep. That might be it.
Just in case we want to put a barn door in anybody, it'll be fine from the other
Yeah.
side of town.
Like if I'm going to shoot you, it's going to be from a distance. But if like I'm up close, I'm bringing out the brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Well, then you could just beat him to death with the rifle because it takes 3 rounds to reload.
It is a single
Oh, wait,
shot
does it?
rifle. I was getting ready to bring that out. It's like, you ever seen Quigley or Quigley Down Under? The old,
Yeah.
what was it? Yeah. That rifle he used, that was a Sharps.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
reload. So reload 3 means 3
Yeah, 'cause
rounds. To...
It's
Yeah.
black powder,
It's
so
black
you got to
powder.
pull the thing, and you've got to, fucking pack it down.
Oh, I do like that though.
So
Let's
for
see.
instance, so carbines, I don't actually know how that's pronounced, but those are typically, I guess one of them's black powder, but those are like usually like shorter barrel, but still a rifle. Like I think most of the one of them is like a lever action, I think.
The Spencer.
Spencer
Spencer looks
56?
like Spencer 56 doesn't seem to have a reload. So
Yeah, that
means
just means one. It's just one turn.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lever action, so you basically like.
Oh, shot 7. Okay,
Mhm.
I
There you
see,
go.
I see.
Yeah.
It's got like a little magazine where they might
Okay.
slide and load in through
gotcha.
the side.
Okay. Oh, Winchester sounds familiar. That's something, isn't it? Winchester? That's still
Nope.
around, isn't it?
The
Yeah.
gun that won
yeah.
the West.
Yep.
Oh, from Last Samurai. I love that movie. I'm sorry.
Wait, the Winchester 73, yeah, that 4440 is, I think, isn't that a common? That was like an explorer guy's gun.
Winchester. Yeah, okay, maybe that was.
Because it was
good.
a like, I think the 4440 is a pretty punchy.
Yeah.
What do you
cartridge.
mean Winchester
Can't find
76?
Oh,
you
that-
might want to.
Yeah.
That one's literally the gun that won the West. It is still made today.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Kinda like-
Maybe that makes
Yeah.
the most sense. The Winchester 76.
73. I don't know if the
I
76
think
probably
that-
76 is more money, but it doesn't take the -1 on the 2d8.
Yeah, I was looking at
And
the
it's a
minus
little
one.
lighter.
that makes sense. I think it's just a different cartridge.
I think
right?
we should all pool our money together and buy John's character a Gatling shotgun.
All in due time. In due time. Wait, does that exist?
Slug
my
salt
God.
pellet, slug salt pellet, slug salt pellet.
Oh, Boise's. Yeah,
I mean-
okay.
The real question is, do you need, as an explorer? Well, you're not a prospector, I guess, but
No, I just
dynamite
do-
and nitroglycerin explosives are specificastically stated in this book as like
Yeah,
being things people want.
there's a lot of like wandering jackassery around. Cyrus rolled Templeton, like I put in the Discord. That's my guy.
Nice.
Cyrus.
Take it. Do you have a spy
but I-
glass? It's got to have a spy glass,
Of
right?
course I do. Yep. I just got to find where that is. See how much that is. I'm going to run out of money, which is fine because that's why I go from job to job. I think that's probably why I'm in the crowd here for this new opportunity because I'm out of money and I need another job.
Like it.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Okay, that's got to be in general equipment.
I assume that's going to be in
Oh,
the
crap.
Savage
So I have to
Worlds.
buy
I'm looking now because I feel like that's got to be in Savage Worlds random, not like specific, but it is in that. It has to be in that because I don't see one.
You would think that would be something that they would have, right? Maybe not.
You would imagine. Well, a rifle scope is 100.
Shit. Now I want to take that big buffalo gun now.
Right?
Spyglass would have to be
Oh, maybe they don't. They do
Wow.
have speed loaders, though.
Yep.
Well, so let me ask you this then, because you get the clothes on your back. So I'm assuming you have to, we're gonna have to buy our guns. So if we're buying guns, that means we're also buying gun belt, the whole everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I don't think there's a separate listing for like gun belt. I don't think
Yeah,
There
it's
is.
in
There
here.
actually is.
There
Oh,
is.
is there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, gun accessories.
You can get
Okay.
a shotgun thong.
Oh, Jim is a quick draw
Just saying.
holster.
Rifle
You
bolt.
can lock
I
that.
guess I guess you do need.
What's
Ooh,
that?
+2.
Yeah, I guess you would need it. Yeah, I would say you definitely would need to buy it if you have it. If you have a gun and want it, I guess you would need to buy that. Technically,
I refuse to pay for a hat. I have a hat. Everybody has a hat.
yes. I'm not gonna. I will not besmirch anyone a hat. Anything clothing related. I mean, if you just had like a regular belt, that's fine. But I think a gun belt has like
Specific thing. Yeah.
if you just bought a holster, you wouldn't
Rifle
have like
bolt.
ammo on your belt to reload. So you'd have to like take your free action at least to like pull it out of your pocket or stuff like that.
Right.
So
So-
I'll need a rifle boot.
I'd
But,
say
like-
you'd wanna
What about like a dust? I mean, would we have a duster? Like it has no intrinsic benefit.
if you want one. Yeah, I don't think that's anything on here is like a coat.
Yeah.
Well, there's a winter coat, I guess. But I'm gonna give you I'd say you can have. You would have a duster if you want. I would say like boots, jeans, whatever, pants, shirt, belt, hat,
Fine.
duster. Those you get in whatever variety you would like it to look. If you buy a horse, I'll throw in the spurs for free. So you don't have to buy spurs and No, you don't have to buy a spur or saddle. If you buy a horse, that's all of it. Like you got
Like a
all of the
saddle?
stuff you need.
Or
Yeah.
am I riding bareback? on
No.
this
Ooh.
week?
I think you got a saddle. I think unless this specifically, I don't care what it says.
I don't know. I
You
can't
bought
even-
it with the saddle and like
Her name's Greta.
Fit.
I bought Greta
Yeah.
with a saddle. She's got her own saddle.
so. I have no problem with that.
It can be a shitty saddle. You can do a luck roll that it comes apart when I'm riding hard and fast, or whatever. How that works.
I think it's fine. I think it's okay. I don't think it's like a needed. I don't think it's a necessary expense.
Hey, it's a diving suit. Do we need a diving suit?
I mean, who knows?
Oh, it looks like the Big Daddies from
Yeah.
what was that game?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Bioshock.
That's awesome.
All right, so I have I desperately wanted to get 2 guns and get thunder and lightning. They're 2 different calibers, and I don't know if I want to do that to myself.
Wow.
What could go wrong?
I think it'd be flavor. Go for it.
I like it.
Deal.
I
I'm
approve.
doing it. Nobody said that's a horrible idea, except Neil.
Very good one.
Wow. But you know,
Yeah.
screw what the GM says.
Tracking ammo of these things
I hope so.
with each specific caliber.
What are you looking at, Jim? You kicked her in a couple of at least one idea in the Discord.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of doing something from like the Chi Master, like the martial artist type deal.
Mm.
You know, like he's from Philadelphia,
Okay.
right? And his dad's I haven't done any mechanical building
That's
yet.
awesome.
So yeah.
Sure.
For the concept, like he's from Philadelphia, and his dad is, I mean, he's a pretty successful businessman. His brothers and stuff work in the business, but you know, like his dad's Asian, his mom's white, so he doesn't really quite fit in there. So he's like, you know what? I can fight. I'll go out west. and that's what got him out this way, which would work in well for like the agency trying to recruit people.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we could send you out west. Be like, well, shit, I don't have to pay for a train ticket. I'm in.
Yeah.
Nice.
And especially since obviously you have like powers.
Right?
Someone at some point probably was like, I think that guy's got like, I think he's not just some normal guy. Give him, we're gonna make sure, give him that flyer. So yeah, it would definitely make sense. Like that.
Yeah,
you would be,
yeah, because like he doesn't
recruited.
quite fit in. Like when he's like in his neighborhood, everybody gives him shit. And then when he's not in his neighborhood, everybody gives him shit. So he's probably gotten a street fight once or twice. Somebody's like, "Whoa, that's not normal."
Oh man,
Nice.
you took the superior kung fu.
Yeah, I was looking at how to
Edge
build that out.
is like crazy because you basically just like you could accumulate like all these styles.
Yeah,
Be
Yeah.
great. Like, oh, I need to do this. Like, I love that they have so many interesting benefits. That
yeah. Reading through it, I was picking up like there was a lot of that
pretty
stuff.
cool.
Like
There's a lot of
Yeah.
cool stuff in there, man.
and like I'm not gonna have a gun. Like I have like a Bowie knife or a tomahawk or something. Like I picture he's like fascinated with the Old West anyway, growing up.
Yeah.
like reading their version of like the the dime store, Wild West novels and stuff. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah.
I mean, there's also a lot of, you're supposed to be sort of like, general heroes as well. Not, it doesn't all have to be, monsters and stuff, but, there's a lot of Asian people who were grossly exploited during this time period building these railroads and shit. So maybe there's plots around, like, I don't know. How's your character feel about that?
Right. Yeah. He's definitely like, especially reading up on the Chi Master and stuff, like human rights and stuff or something. Was like, hey, this is fucked up. Like Philadelphia. Like I actually read into Philadelphia in like the 1870s, 1880s, and like the Asian American population there, or like Asian, was it Pacific Islanders and stuff, was huge. So I was like, oh, that's a good spot to be from.
Yeah. Interesting.
Nice.
Like he shows up, and he shows up too. Like his dad's a businessman, so that's how he knows how to dress. So
Nice.
like in the business suit with the vest and everything, like proper Eastern, attire for, running around town and stuff. Like he might have like bought his first pair of cowboy boots like on the way out.
That's awesome. I also love that that's like a character coming straight from the East. I like that too.
Yeah.
Like getting into Dodge City for the first time, because like that would be like a huge culture shock from Philadelphia. Like it's like two totally different. Like, and it, it's just a cool like idea of like, I actually, rode the rail to the furthest place I could get that ticket, and I'm gonna make my fortune.
So
in the West.
So I got to put the mechanics together, but that's what I'm thinking.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's cool. I looked at that, and the problem was I couldn't figure out how to make it work. Being a podcast of a bunch of old white dudes, and you made it work.
I hope.
Well,
right?
Like, I hope it. We won't know until the internet decides.
Yeah, I had one of those. It's like, don't screw this up.
but right, so like being
Remember that
mixed
this
race.
is broadcast. I forget sometimes because I do a lot of things that aren't. So I should remember that.
Well, I was talking to my son a little bit about it, because he still lives at the house, or he's 19, but his mom's Japanese. We met when I was in the service. And that's what I was like. I was like, I have a problem. I was like, the only problem is it either comes off as the white savior guy,
Right,
or you screw up like the Asian side of it. And he's like, do like me? I'm mixed. And I was like, bingo, kid.
Great idea. It's a good idea.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like it.
yeah, because like I did Tai Chi and stuff for a while, so I was like, oh, that might be kind of cool. And then I was like, wow, but it's the Old West, and you want to like shoot stuff. And then I was like, oh, well, like, Indian shaman sounds fucking amazing, because like I like to be out in the woods and go hiking, like all that shit. But again, it's the same problem of like the 50-year-old white guy, and like,
Right.
I don't like. If we were playing at home, I guess like it wouldn't matter, right? But then to broadcast that, like,
It's
any
not a
sort
good
of
look these
misstep
days.
is like, yeah.
Oh, tell me about it. I have a whole.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
go. You can go. You can
I said I have a whole system that I just haven't touched yet that I backed on Kickstarter.
go. Oh
Tony
no.
and Crow.
Yep.
Is it what?
Hey,
Wolf and
I
Crow?
got that too. Yeah,
Oh,
I have that. Yeah,
Like-
reading through that, it's like I don't know if I can do this.
although I love though at the beginning how they say
Yeah.
like if you are of I can't remember what the phrase is that they use, not Aboriginal, but like
Indigenous.
indigenous. If you are of indigenous descent, like, and we left something out of your particular culture, feel free to put it in, right? Like we can't include everything, so
Yeah.
put it. They say, but if you are non-indigenous, don't think you know more than us.
Yeah, just don't.
Use,
Just
yep, just don't. Yep. Put what's in the book. Like, use what's in the book. Feel free to create a character. That's awesome, but don't add anything.
Yep.
Like,
It's a good. It's a good way to handle it. I'm also trying to think of how we're like this game. Obviously, touches on a lot of things, like Native American issues, or how I guess that it's even an issue of like what's the term we want to use for the podcast? Is it Native American? Is it indigenous people? Is it
Well, it's right in the book as Indians.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
I wouldn't use that, right? Like it might be anachronistic to say indigenous, indigenous peoples, but that's probably the most appropriate, right?
I would say First Nations or First. Is Canada chosen? Is there? I don't know what the proper term to not.
Well,
I don't want to be offensive to people.
So it's tough because it really is like a person-to-person thing. So my wife, as an English teacher, and always likes to introduce unique and other perspective books to all her students. She would not survive in half the states in the country right now. Yeah. But so there's a lot of Native American writers that she also uses as well, and they use like from book to book, it's different terms every time. And so there are some people that use Native American, there's some that use indigenous, there's some that use Indian. There's like it's all over the board. It's one of those things. It's like whatever they feel most comfortable with is what they use.
I mean, I'm gonna hope. Now, here's the problem. I definitely don't know more than whoever wrote that RPG. And the scary part is, I would like to be at least, hopefully, honoring that they are all very different tribes. Anyway, it's not like the Sioux Nation in this game is one. I mean, I think they might technically all call themselves Sioux. I got to reread that section, but there's different tribes that like. So I would hope I'm going to call them by whatever tribe they should be a part of. But in general, I want to... Smithsonian apparently says Native American is falling out of favor toward either American Indian or indigenous American.
Yeah.
I think indigenous people is fine, I hope. So we'll go with that. But yeah, I like that's a whole thing. Slavery's obviously a thing, although I believe in the South, there was some changes that they decided that they actually ever said like we're not going to do that anymore. But
yeah, I think there's a whole sidebar in the book about that.
Yeah. So
I was reading that.
We'll try to stay away from as much problematic stuff, and other than I guess these days it's like, hey, FYI, just doing a podcast about a thing that has bad things that we could possibly think are bad, and it means you're bad. I don't know. Although this is, I guess it's slightly more tolerant for the most part. Although they do say people will be, people could be racist and, bigotous. So,
Right. It depends on the kind of story that we're telling or what we want to
Yeah.
tell, right?
Yep.
Same thing with Call of Cthulhu. The 20s suck if you're not white. So, depending on how you're engaging with the game, what kind of story you're going to tell,
yeah,
you could just completely ignore all that. Or like in the noir game that Kurt and I are running, like, yeah, racism exists, but like, in the world that we're creating, the people that we deal with are not that at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you can just, and again, it may be somewhat anachronistic, but you're also like, you're not going to play an asshole who's racist on a podcast.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
like, you know what I mean? So like, you just kind of push it out. Like, we all know that it sucks and, things
Yeah.
are shitty.
yeah.
Um,
So we'll try to like sidestep any of that a little bit. I'll try not to have, unless we really want to focus on certain. I mean, obviously, yeah. Let's try not to play people that are pro slavery.
Deal.
I was gonna like with Jim's thing, right? So
That
like,
feels like a good start.
I mean, if you could be from the South and maybe you're like, hey, I, am from there and I live there, but like some of the stuff I don't agree with, but hey, it's where I'm from. Maybe that.
Right.
I don't know.
well, but like the thing with Jim's character, that may or may not be an interesting thing to
Yeah.
engage with if we're like, oh well, we're gonna fuck these people up that are taking advantage of,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Immigrants. Yep. Yeah. I think we'll be good. I hope.
So with all that being said, instead I'm playing a middle-aged white guy.
Nailed it.
Sometimes you go with what you know.
Because it's Wild West, right? Like outlaw in and of its, I can't play a bad character. The noir character was supposed to be more like cold and callous, and like that went maybe one session, and I can't do it, I guess. So instead of just like straight outlaw, like, oh, I'm gonna murder a bunch of people, my thought was, I posted in the Discord, that the guy just started off as a homesteader, was out wherever, and maybe in Kansas, goes into town, comes home, wife was murdered, or savage, if it's a named supernatural creature, or if it's a named outlaw. Like the way I see it in my head, Ken, is like he's into town, and it's that movie shot where he locks eyes with the bad guy, but you don't know he's the bad guy, but then you find out later that like, oh, he was the guy, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then moves on from like, okay, I was just a simple farmer homesteader, but like now I've sworn an oath of vengeance to kill this person and or creature, and straps on a couple of guns and is just now out hunting for however we want to proceed with that. And then take a hindrance of a major hindrance of enemy, and then also nightmares, because it was interesting to me, because again, just the way that I play all these games is that like he's he goes to sleep, and then like not necessarily every night, I guess, but like his wife leans over while he's asleep, like he goes to sleep, but then like there's the cut and you don't know that he's like dreaming or whatever, and she like leans over and like half her face is rotten, or she's got like fangs and claws and shit because she was attacked by this supernatural creature, or
I like it.
it's just you weren't there, right? Like where were you? Like it doesn't even have to be like a supernatural thing, but like there's just this constant reminder that drives him to search this thing out. So, and maybe that's how he's contacted, is like he's in town asking around, have you seen this person, or have you seen anything weird, have you seen again, however it shakes out. And somebody picks up on that. It's like, hey, if you're interested in that, we might have something for you if you want to check this out.
Yeah.
Is that Night Terrors?
I think it's just nightmares.
Okay. I took the Night Terrors hindrance. and
God.
the heavy
This freak.
sleeper hindrance.
Well, that's
So
a weird combo.
Yeah, when I go in, I go in. So when it's time to sleep, I go away, and I just go curl up somewhere far away from the group. That's just kind of a little. Go ahead and fuck with me on that, you know.
Now I have to look now.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm gonna take the heavy sleeper.
Yeah, it's like a -4 to waking up. Like that's so, like if something goes wrong.
See, but that's also interesting, right? Like if then you're
Yeah.
stuck in
Yeah.
that nightmare
Yeah.
thing where you can't wake up
Yeah.
from it. I kind of like that.
I had a reason for it, but I figured I don't know if we're going into any of that right now. But
I don't see it now. I also thought about Two
Night
Gun
Terrors
Kids.
is on page 16 of the Deadlands. I don't know if you took it from Deadlands or from Savage.
Oh, I have the regular.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was
I
trying to
think that's
take
where it's
things
pulled
from Deadlands just because it was like setting specific. So it
Well,
might
I
be
was
the
thinking-
same.
So they're all transferable, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
But I was thinking about for the Edge, Two Gun Kid. It's like two-fisted.
Ooh, I did that one too.
weapons. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
you can fire a weapon in
synergy's
each
happening.
hand.
Right.
There's 2 different actions, but without triggering the multi-action penalty. So it's just 2 straight shots. Because I am a novice with an agility of D8. If I leave this the way that it's set up, probably. Yeah, so that's kind of where I was at. Because, like, journalist might be fun and useless, which I guess probably doesn't get us anywhere. But it would fit with the setting. It would fit with the story of like, we get you to report on this, or when we find stuff and fix it, like write the really great article and like bring the hope up and the fear down sort of stuff. But
What if you're a journalist following John's adventure character out west, recording all of
that's
I would
interesting.
hate-
We'll flip the
hate
dynamic,
that.
John.
Right?
Oh, Cyrus would hate that. Let's do it.
I think
maybe.
I found your
having night
nemesis.
terrors.
I think it's gonna be a hanging judge.
That's great because then we can keep saying that's a hanging to every.
Yeah. and literally that is their thing.
Perfect.
Everything's a hanging, literally.
Oh.
And being from Texas is enough to receive a hanging, apparently, because that's where they were hung. So this is why I think it's interesting. There are 5 of them, period, like named, so that you don't know which one it was. They basically they were 5 judges that colluded to basically get rich and ruin people's lives in the process.
So
The
judges.
the town found out, hung them, and because evil now manipulates things in this world, they came back at hell-bent on hanging anyone for, quote, offenses that they're out. So they're essentially just fucking psychopath, serial killer, undead judges. But you would definitely know who did it, because if you found her hung, probably not a lot of other, like, you'd have at least a decent chance of thinking that once you knew what a hanging judge was. Because who would have done that otherwise? Like, how many judges would, like, how many people would have just come and hung her? But maybe I'll look and see if there's something that designates it as well, so that there might be a clue of like, oh, wait, what? At least something that it's not just some dude.
Right.
But I
Well,
like
there
it.
could have
'cause
been
there's-
like a declaration of like what the offenses were or whatever, right? Like that would.
Yeah, so they essentially, they're solitary, relentless hunters. They avoid towns and congregations of people, so that's why I figured, like, oh, they'd be out in the middle of nowhere. They never speak except to whisper their prey's offense over and over. Their prey is often found lynched from a tree with their offense written on their forehead in blood.
Oh, there you go.
I was
So,
close.
There you go.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So they're not great for sure. I guess I shouldn't have. I guess I character doesn't know that, obviously. Player now knows that.
Yeah.
But, I think it's still interesting.
Yeah, I'd probably stick with that because I like the sound of that. I think that's cool.
And I'm gonna say, like, you don't know why. Let's just, if you're okay with this, the thing written on our forehead just said Texas.
Texas. That's a hang.
Doesn't say that. Maybe that's where she committed the crime. Maybe that's what. But play or not, character being from Texas is always a heinous crime in their book of law because that's where they were killed. So maybe she was just from Texas, and it's literally that reason. But you can track him down and ask him if you know which one it is. That's the other thing, right? So, like,
yeah, I dig that. I like that. Would I know at the early stage of the game that's what it was,
No.
or would that be something that we start to accrue knowledge as we start playing?
You would accrue that. Yeah, you wouldn't know right away. As a matter of fact, that's probably why you got handed the flyer, because you're asking people. My wife was killed by someone. They hung her and wrote Texas in blood on her head, and then people were like, "That's fucking gross. Why would they do something that bad?" And then someone hears that and is like, "Oh, that's a hanging judge." And then he's like, this guy has a reason to join us. Like, we've got him hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. I spent that night in jail as I threatened to beat up everyone in the town.
Yeah.
So I think that works. I think that, it's a very specific way for someone to ID you when you're asking around, and you get this thing. And for some reason, you just feel like going to this meeting, like, this is what I got to do.
Yeah. All right, I dig it. I like the idea of following John around.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll kick it around for the next week or so and see. Maybe but I like what you came up with. So now I'm torn.
Whatever.
Like, what kind of journalist? Like, are you writing like articles? You doing like dime store books?
So it would probably be maybe for the Tombstone Epitaph or whatever, the ones that are writing the stories about like these monsters, because maybe John's character has seen, we've seen some of these things perhaps.
Yeah.
And then just like stretching out a yarn, right? Like it could have been a chupacabra, but it could have been like, a coyote with mange, but we won't let that get in the way of a good story.
Right.
Yeah. They're like the Weekly World News.
Yeah.
Of the Old West.
Right.
So
I totally want to be able to have read his stories.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going out west.
Yeah. And then, like, it's very, you just set up like the Men in Black style. But the sad thing is, a lot of the stuff that gets published in there is real. That's the thing, is you're writing about actual. But I guess people in here, if you're at a level 3 fear, you believe in monsters, because boy, anyone in that town's seen one.
Yeah,
like,
I guess the further west you get,
at some point you get to, like, it's terrifying, like, just to be there. So even going to like mine Ghost Rock is not for the faint of heart. That's well worse than like Silver Gold Rush type problems.
That's where my night terrors come from.
From the
doing a job
maze.
finding some ghost rock in the maze, and so maybe that's where they can tie it in, because I had it tied in like something like where like I was stopped by what is it, not the Sioux Nations, but like a tribe or whatever that was around there, and they stopped me, and then now I have these night terrors about what happened, like they did something, but maybe it's not that, maybe it's something with the reporter now.
Yeah.
We can just tie that in because that's where it came from. Like I don't have any memory of what happened after I was taken, but they set me free with a new like. Now I don't really like Ghost Rock. I don't want to, because there was another hindrance in there about that. What is it, like the old ways or something? That was what the hell was it called?
Oh, the old ways though, like
I got it pulled up right here.
I think
you can't use any modern stuff.
technology.
So I don't know if you could use a rifle either.
No, but I didn't take it. But
got it.
But that concept was like, oh, maybe that makes sense too. Like they chewed me up, spit me out, and now I don't want anything to do with anything.
Yeah, you're like
it's specifically if the Oath Taker uses an item powered by Ghost Rock, their support is withdrawn for a week.
That's the here's Pledge of modern technology. Yes, that old ways Oath. Yeah. Like that was kind of, I had that chewing around in my brain. Like you got to spit back out, and now that's where the old ways Oath came from because you're not fucking around with any of this shit anymore. Yeah, maybe I'll put that back in there then. Yeah,
I mean that's that would definitely be a good like you being a sort of expedition guy for Ghost Rock, like prospectors. You're like leading them through the maze. Horrible shit happens there all the time. So like it could definitely screw you up. Okay, also there is some other there are some other ways that things could tie in.
I kind of like that now. Fuck.
There's like big tremor worms out there.
Yeah.
Dune.
Or Dune. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Is the
not unlike Dune because Ghost Rock is kind of spice-like. It powers an economy. It's just not to be able to navigate solar systems or whatever the spice technically does, and get you high. The most important thing about it,
right? Spice does that too.
Sleeper.
Good to go.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I guess I can. Well, yeah, you wouldn't know this, but your character would know this. But I will tell you, there is also, if you go with the old ways, there is a literal Men in Black device called the Numanizer that flashes you and wipes your memory and lets them embed a suggestion in you.
Great. So let's do that too. Let's just do it.
So maybe someone stole one, like because it's usually by the agency that is.
Maybe John's character has it. He keeps flashy thinking me.
But like, if you ran across some people like Native Americans, maybe they had gotten, maybe they found one or bought one from someone and were like, let's stop these people from like. They could have just wiped you because they just didn't want you doing it anymore.
That was.
And they're like,
that was my initial idea. Like it was just like you got jacked up on something.
Yeah.
And now you're.
But there is an in-game reason too. It could have been an agency person who's like, ooh, I'll bet you if we'd recruit him if we wiped his memory of that or embedded a suggestion.
Okay.
But yeah, that's those are options.
Maybe I'll get rid of Heavy Sleeper. I'll substitute so that way nothing really changes. They're both minor. I got to keep the Night Terrors. Okay, all right, maybe we'll do that, and then I'll get rid of my gun. And who the hell knows? I got to relook at everything. I'm gonna kick this around. I'm gonna shoot.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Take your time. Make
There's a whip.
What you want.
Does a whip violate it? Would a whip violate it?
No, that's as old as it gets, man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh shit. Okay. All right.
You could go bow and arrow.
Oh, there you go.
I could go bow and arrow.
They numanized you. They stuck a bow and arrow in your hands and said, "Go home.
Go. Get out of here, idiot."
Figure it out.
Okay.
Hey, give me 1 second.
Yep. There you go. So I don't know if this is a great idea, but I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Yes, it's the best idea.
Half healing is one of my powers, so I think we'll be okay. It balances out. So I'm taking 2 hindrances, right? I need talisman as a preacher. Obviously, I need my cross. And then I'm gonna go with the Grim Servant of Death.
Ooh.
So that means you hit somebody else when you roll ones or something, right?
If I crit fail, then I hit an ally.
Yeah.
But the upside is that I get a +1 to all damage. So
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll heal you afterwards if I hit you. I promise.
Ah,
That's
I mean,
great.
I mean, who am I to judge?
who am I to hang and judge?
Right. What I'm here for is to.
But I figured too, like thematically, it kind of fits. Like that's what he's been tasked to do.
Yeah.
I'd buy that.
Just hopefully you don't accidentally friendly
What?
fire someone in the first.
You're just like randomly mumbling.
Oh, really? I'm gonna figure this out. God damn it!
You got a month.
Well, no, it's 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. 3 weeks, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I just figured like whatever. It's gonna be on the 2nd, not the 4th.
Do you have a? Oh, I can't remember what
Is it
the.
the 2nd? Ah, fuck. Okay. All right. I don't know what our schedule is.
What did you schedule?
Oh yeah, because we do runners on the 3rd.
I thought we said we were doing the 2nd.
Yeah, second. Yep. Okay, sure. Yeah.
All good.
Or
Got a
yeah,
week
I mean we
or
could
so.
move it to the 4th. It doesn't matter to me. I just was saying. Like,
No, because I can't next month because I'll be at a convention.
got it. Yeah, this is killing me. I'm trying to find out why it's.
Is there
Did you-
like a Neil? Is there like a background noise cancellation thing on your mic, or like a sensitivity level?
Yeah, that's what I was looking to see. What's going on? I have the freak. Oh, maybe if I turn that off. How about if I just? Does that help at all? Like, whoop, is that?
Your
Am I
volume went up some.
You just got louder.
Well, yeah, I did turn the volume up, but I turned off the like blue voice effect special do things.
So far, you haven't
program.
dropped at all. Yeah.
So maybe it was it doing it, and I just have no
Quite
idea what the
possibly.
setting was. There's like 30 settings that I could mess with. I just turned off all of them. So
There
if
you
that
go.
helps, then thank God, because it's been doing it across the board. Like anytime I'm on. Well, no, anytime. I think even on my own local recordings, it was doing it. So it had to have been
so
that.
it has to be a mic setting then.
Fucking
There you go.
Logitech. God damn.
Well, you sound good now.
Awesome. Well, that fixed it. Congratulations to me. Why is this not working? See, like I built this thing in Roll20, and now I feel like it is like no. Like there's nothing in it anymore. I was like, I had the map, I had the decks, but it won't let me do anything with any of it. Like it's just like no, and I don't know why.
We use it for Leslie's game, but she sets everything up.
I hate it, but I just wanted a way to build. I thought I had this poker thing situated. I guess it matters a lot less if it's the other news system, which I find somewhat weird.
What are you trying to do with it? Sorry, because it's Roll20. I run my games on Roll20 too.
Gone. Oh, sorry. My internet glitched. What was that?
I just asked what you were trying to get done with it. We run on Roll22, so
I don't know actually because I built it and it was working fine. Is there like a time limit if you don't have a paid thing that it wipes stuff?
I don't
But
think so.
Like right now, I'm on the page that should have the map that I showed you guys. I had it sort of so that we could keep it in the background.
Okay.
And I'm on the Roll20 page, and there's just the image isn't there. And it won't let me deal the cards that I had created. Like everything was working, and now I feel like it's just like, no, there's nothing here for you to click on.
Do you have to have other people at the table to deal the cards, or was it doing it without anyone being?
And I don't understand. It is loading slow.
Roll20 here lately has had some serious issues with just bogging down. I don't know what's going on.
Really?
But yeah, we ran like a week and a half ago, and I had combat set up and stuff, and like it got to the point you couldn't even like move tokens and stuff. Like you
yeah,
would
that's
go to
what
move
I'm
them.
worried about. Like I have cards built, and
Yeah.
like I have tokens as well that are going to use that I could pass out as the bennies. I took and dragged a card onto my portrait like you do when you're supposed to like deal a card to yourself, and instead of it registering like above my little icon, the card just froze on top of the picture and is still frozen there. Normally it will like show up above your little user icon like, oh, here's your card.
Yeah.
No, it's just sitting there. Maybe they're having
Weird.
issues. I'll check it
Cool.
later. Show you
Neil,
that map.
this document with the skills on it. These are the skills that are so like I don't see one that says climbing. So would that just be like athletics?
It would be under athletics. So they combined a bunch of stuff like swimming, climbing, all that stuff into athletics.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I was just getting ready to ask if there's a skills sheet, but then I remembered you sent that out.
Yeah, I posted a thing in
Well,
the Discord
John reminded
yesterday
me.
because everything was,
Yeah.
it's all alphabetical, I guess. But so then everything is spread out all over. So if when you're trying to create a character for the first time, you're like, fuck, I don't know how high I want this attribute to be because I don't know which friggin' skills are in it. And there's like 18 skills for smarts.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like
and
double
none for
everything
strength.
else. None for strength.
No
none,
skills for strength.
None for spirit.
Or vigor. Oh, spirit has like 5.
Oh, spirit. Vigor didn't have.
Vigor has none.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't. What skill would you have for vigor? Like just your general energy.
Yeah, I mean, like resist fatigue kind of thing, but I guess that's the role, right? Like, I mean, that's just the actual
that's part of it.
Do the thing, yeah.
And avoid hangovers.
It would be like a health roll in 4, right? I mean, that would be the to resist it.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about climbing.
Makes sense. There is a ton of skills for smarts.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought it would like. I don't know. They've revised it so many times. I just feel like that's a weird choice when there's not even close to a balance. Like if you have nothing for strength, it just seems weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it in D&D though. It's super similar. Like Constitution doesn't have skills attached to it.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah.
But again, it's the same thing, right? Like it's the health roll, it's the vigor roll, it's the
exactly. Yeah.
It's your base.
It already has some pretty important stuff based on it. So
yeah.
See, now I don't feel so bad about Cthulhu because, as an investigative game, then again, a lot of it comes down to brains related things, right? Research,
like brains and
investigation,
psyche.
Yeah.
So Neil, I'm wondering if I'm going into this like grim servant of the Almighty kind of characteristic thing.
Yeah.
So good.
I like
yes, you are.
Yes, you are. I took the talisman hindrance.
Okay. Yeah.
Could my talisman be my guns? Like,
Ooh.
could God have blessed my 6 irons?
Could you have blessed your 6 irons, right? Because you have the power.
6 irons?
Well, no, because so it's the talisman represents a mental dependence on a physical item to use the powers.
Real cool.
And it doesn't say specifically, it says a holy item for a blessed.
Well, but it does say, I mean, you can always change everything, but it does say unique weapon for
For the
Chi
Chi Master, yeah.
So you could have a weapon as
Yeah.
your
The
that
inlay on the
does
handle has a cross on either side and silver.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my!
yeah.
Right? Like yeah.
You're a
I
grammaton
was figuring
cleric.
too because I took smite as one of my powers.
Oh.
So I can just imagine, like, as I have it, like, they already have, like, the intricate carvings in the weapon as the talisman. And, like, when I cast smite, all that, like, glows.
Oh man.
There's like, to represent the crown of thorns, right? There's just like an intricate engraving
Oh,
down the
yep.
barrel of
Yeah,
like,
like all the filigree of like it's just like fucking amazing. Now here's the kicker though. If you don't have like you can't ever have different guns. Like you definitely
Oh, I
can't.
agree. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But not only, I mean, you could have different guns as long as you still have those, but it's like you
Those
can't
on
sell
me.
those. You can't, like, if someone takes them or you aren't wearing them on your
You-
gun belt at the time.
You don't know how dedicated I am to that stuff, Neil. I'm playing
just
Red
saying.
Dead. I'm playing Red Dead Redemption right now, and I still have the original pistol that I started
wow.
with.
Wow.
I don't upgrade weapons. I am
only-
I'm very loyal.
I think I got one.
I
different
respect
one,
the
but
shit
that's
out of
about it.
that. I love that.
But yeah, I mean, not that you need better gun. I mean, the guns are as guns as they get, right? There's
Yeah.
not that worse, much crazier of a pistol. To
And I
get.
can't use infernal shit, or else
Oh,
probably
yeah.
like fucking burn in my hand.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, you know, but you never know when someone, for instance, I believe Dodge City makes you sequester your guns when you come to town. There is a
So I can
1000%
still
that
use
sounds-
I can still use my powers without them. I just do it all at a -2.
Okay.
So
But
Which,
yeah,
I mean,
believe
isn't
Dodge City, they make
insignificant,
you- I think
but-
they make you check your guns at
Yeah.
Dodge City. I believe it was either Dodge City or Tombstone. I don't remember which. I'll look it up before
yeah,
next
but that's
week.
assuming you tell them that you have pistols.
Well, yes, it's just apparently if you find you have one, it's problematic.
You got a duster, right? Just hide them.
what are they going to do to a priest?
You're a holy man.
Underneath your robes. I don't know if that's a
Yes.
Yeah,
Catholic
your
in the
vestments.
Catholic
Oh
Church. Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I got to wear the long robes now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're gonna pull like the Nicolas Cage from Face Off.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I am.
Man. Castor Troy has been
Great name.
saved.
A great name.
It's a
Dig it.
great movie. It's the best movie. It's
Kinda
the
wanna
best
change
movie,
my name
but it's
now.
a great movie. Yeah, I was trying to look and see what the rule is on. I must have missed it.
All right. I think I have a general build now.
All right.
I might be done.
I still might mess around a little bit with like some of the gear,
Sure.
but I think in general I got it.
What powers were you
So
thinking?
I ended up going with, well, I have to take Holy Symbol,
Yep.
and then I went with Healing and Smite.
All right. Makes sense. Fits the bill.
Right? Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the ones that I was looking at too, like I want like Sanctify sounded cool, Protection sounded, but those were all higher rank spells.
Yep.
So next time.
Yep. I think that's good. That's
Okay.
pretty awesome.
And
Nice.
then I ended up going with 2 Thunderers for the
Okay.
revolvers with my Bowie knife.
I mean, it's a pretty badass, like, that's a pretty Deadlands thing. A outlaw turned preacher with like super engraved pistols that are like blessed by God.
War
Right.
priest.
It's a pretty good,
Yes.
that's a pretty good Deadlands fucking character right there.
Yep.
So that fits.
And so then, my hindrances are Talisman and Grim Servant.
Yep.
And then for edges, I went with Blessed, Two Gun Kid, and Ambidextrous.
How'd you get 3?
Hmm?
How'd you get 3 edges? Did you spend all your hindrances on edges?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Hey.
I mean, I have my shooting up to a D8.
That's pretty good.
That's really all I give a shit about. Oh, and I have my faith at a D6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I figured that's okay. I can always increase it later as he gets more faithful. I'm figuring he's kind of early in the process right now. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
but
is
I
he-
do have my occult at a D8.
Oh, I figured.
What?
Yeah.
You're a cult? Okay.
Yes.
Well, he's a preacher.
Well, no, I'm like, that's they wouldn't all like, now it seems like you would have been like an exorcist. Like,
I mean, in a manner of speaking, I suppose he is.
Yeah, it's,
like that's pretty high.
I thought about a cult, but the way this is shaken out, I feel like he wouldn't have it at this point.
Mm.
I mean, I feel like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know you could probably have like well, like the preacher could be like have access to church stuff, knowledge,
Right,
documents that maybe that is where he learned some of it, and then
that was my thinking of he was like basically handed this, not like you have been enrolled, like this is all the shit that's going on,
yeah.
like a Van Helsing situation.
So yeah, he could do that. I think you could have like some innate knowledge now of like
And even if
some
you
occult
think
things.
yeah, if you think a D8's too low, I can always dump that down to a D6 and then boost my shooting up. I'm good with either or.
That's up to you. That's your call. I mean, a D10 in shooting is like,
Absurdly good.
yeah, like you're rarely gonna miss. That's for sure. So I don't know. That one's up to you.
Now.
I mean, I feel like if it were me, I would say you would have less in the occult, only because like a D6 in occult seems like a lot in occult for
Really?
a
Yeah.
novice to know, unless you're
That's a good point.
unless
Yeah.
you are an unless that's your thing, like you
Right,
were
yeah.
like a Wiccan, or like you were a preacher, but also maybe you did look into, like you did do help with exorcisms or something, or something like that. Then you might have more as like being a demonologist or something.
True.
But otherwise, I don't know if you would have that.
All right. So I'm going to bump that down. I'll actually, you know what I'm going to do? You brought up a really good point. I am a novice, and I'll say he has been in it a little bit, but I'm going to bump that down to a D4.
Okay.
And then that does give me a little extra
God.
to play with now.
This is just gonna like make you insane in something else.
Already did that. I already bumped my shooting up to a D10, so that's good.
There we go. Yeah. So you're like, yeah, you would be top tier gunslinger, gunfighter,
which is what he's
so.
supposed to be anyway, right?
So there you go. Yeah, you're
with a little extra.
There's only a few people that would be like able to beat you if it was quick and the dead style. So you would probably get pretty damn far in that tournament.
I almost took quick draw. It was a toss up between quick draw and ambidextrous.
Tough call. But if you have,
I figured ambidextrous might be more useful in long term. Like that's useful round to round as opposed to quick draws only right at the very beginning.
Yep.
It gives you like a +2 or something.
I think you draw an extra card and you can choose which one.
Yeah, it's like initiative.
Yeah.
Yep.
Help. Yeah, I was looking for what's Two Gun Kid do?
Go ahead.
No, I have to find it again because I put the book down.
You can shoot. You can you can shoot with either weapon as an action while only using one action.
That's not how I read it. I could be wrong.
I think I just greatly simplified it, but
well, no, because it makes a difference, right? So it says Two Gun Kid works just like Two-Fisted, but with ranged weapons, allowing them to fire or throw a weapon in each hand as two different actions, but without triggering the multi-action penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's two actions, so you can shoot both in the same round, but not suffer the -2 penalty.
Well, yeah, that's So you use an action to shoot each one, but you don't get it doesn't count as multiple actions.
It's still two actions. You just don't get the penalty.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, because then you couldn't do another. Yeah, I think what's John's saying is like if you shot both guns, no, you could stack another, I guess. Can't you do 3 actions and stack a third as long as you're taking another -2 across the board?
I think you could do as many actions as you want, but you're going to take a -2 on everything.
Yeah. So that's why I guess they're saying it that way versus like you fire. Also, it allows you to only shoot one gun. Otherwise, if it was just you shoot both guns with one action, though if it was written that way, you'd always have to shoot both guns.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, true.
Right. So like I think that must be why.
It's semantics, but
I
feel like
it makes sense. Depending on how the rules are worded in terms of actions per round, then I think the way you worded it makes sense in terms of the rules.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I might go with that one, but I don't know. I want to look at everything again.
Yeah, it's always good to get another look on like, I didn't see this. Ooh, I didn't see that.
And definitely dumping a Colt, because if Jesse's Preacher is only at a D4, because a D4 is kind of where I was thinking like, oh, maybe a little bit. But if the Preacher's only at a D4, then I would say, not that it matters, but like, then I feel like it's kind of off the table, right? Like if the guy who's blessed by God only has a little bit of knowledge.
I mean, I guess it depends, right? Because like if you're going with like, if you're thinking about doing like the reporter angle for a place that reports on all this weird stuff,
well, then that would make sense to have more. But if I keep the original guy,
it just depends on how long he's been out there doing stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess if he's ever run into anything, I guess cult's not the same as like monsters. So a cult, I mean, it sort of is, sort of isn't. I don't know what I would have you roll based on like knowledge of like the actual cryptids or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know if that would fall under. See,
That's a
because I feel like it's
good
not
question.
common knowledge. Right?
No.
Because you could create your own skills. So there could be a skill for like monster knowledge. Like if you want to go like broad scope, right?
Yeah.
But would that, if you feel like that's different than a cult, which may
Yeah.
be the catch all for like weird shit and monsters.
Yeah. That's where I'm like, I want to look and see when it said. Oh, that's going to be in the main book. Duh. I just want to see what their examples are.
Yeah.
That's pretty broad, it seems like.
They're like Weird West.
Experience with the paranormal. Most often, others don't even believe it exists. It can be used to decipher strange pictograms, recall information about supernatural creatures, remember cures for monstrous maladies like lycanthropy or vampirism, or perform rituals. Finding information on a library, newspaper, morgue, old tome, internet uses the research skill as noted there. However, if the investigator's occult skills higher, you can use that instead. So yeah, it is anything paranormal. So you could have a D4, knowing, having, heard rumors. If you're looking around and someone has started telling you like, that ain't natural, that sounds like a, I don't know if they would, it depends on where you were, if they'd know what a hang and judge was, but they could say like, oh, that's gotta be a old insert whatever spooky tale they have about their particular area,
Yeah. Okay. I'll ponder.
So that's up to you. Yeah. It's still possible. I wouldn't rule it out as something you could have.
That's how we bond, talking around the fire.
Yeah. Sharing
Swapping monster stories.
Yeah. I'm going to try my best not to fall into, if anyone, I don't know if anyone listens to Comedy Bang Bang or Bananas for Bonanza, but a lot of this game is also very Dalton Wilcox, which is Andy Daly's character, who is the cowboy poet laureate of the West, who writes absurd poems, since it's comedy about, well, the first one was about being lonely and fucking a hole in the ground, which is an entire, like, it's an amazing poem, which is hilarious with him reading it on the show. But he's also a monster hunter, except by monster hunter, he's a murderer. Because his whole thing is like, oh, they're like, how do you tell if someone's a vampire? Like in his first appearance, he was there and he was like, oh, usually I like ride up to him and I say, are you a vampire? And they always say, what, you know what a vampire always says? And Scott Auger's like, I don't know. He's like, they always say no, or what the hell are you talking about? That's when I stake him in the heart. Like, he was like, and then he was like, one time he was like, oh yeah, I had to get rid of that guy. I think he was, I was pretty sure he was a Frankenstein. Like, he just makes up shit. And they're like, why did you think that? And he was like, oh, trust me, I know. I've been around enough Frankensteins before. And like, just, he always pluralizes monsters in absurd ways. It says things like Frankensteins. And yeah, it's all about him. And he keeps being like, oh, they keep telling me not to talk about all of the monster hunting on the podcast. And it's, that's all he has to really talk about, is murdering people who he asked if they were monsters and they said no. So he thinks they're definitely a monster.
So I got a quick question with
Sure.
some of the edges. How do the powers work?
Which edge are you looking at specifically?
Well, the Chi Master.
Oh, let me look for it. I have not. I'm not on that page.
I just had it. I switched.
I
between
believe
books.
you get
It says I get 15
power points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it does explain how much they cost.
So I think the moves have their own individual costs.
Yeah,
probably.
they'll each
They
have
do,
a power
yeah.
level.
Cool. Okay. So is there a list of those?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I will see if I can.
It's split. So let's see.
Yeah, this book is like not laid out.
There's some of them listed in the Deadlands book.
Okay. I've got both of them open right now. So.
Most of those are gonna be in the other. So like arcane protection, boost lower trait.
Got
dark
it. Hey,
sight.
I just found a whole chapter labeled powers.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
They'll do it.
Yeah. So most of them will be in the Savage Worlds. There are some setting specific ones that will be in the Deadlands book.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But it doesn't tell you which is which. You kind of have to figure out by trial and error.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get like 15 power points. I'll have to look at how like when you get them back.
I think it's just part of the initial build out if I'm reading it right.
Well, no, like when you get like when you recuperate them, right? Is like I don't know if it's like they were kind of like when you do certain things, or do you have to rest for a certain amount of time?
PowerPoints.
Regain power points. You can spend a Benny to get 5 back.
Okay.
So that's something. And then on 147.
Here's yeah. Devices, recharging, tinkering, malfunction.
Yeah, why is it like... Ugh. I mean, I feel like they have to like... You can't only have like spend a Benny as a way.
I think that's it.
I mean, you get them a good amount, so... Oh, this says an inventor regains power points normally 5 per hour spent resting. So I don't know where else they said that happens, but apparently every 5 points for every hour you rest.
So do you need to select them to use them, or do you just have access to all of those and you just spend the points?
Oh no, you have access.
You get
Yours
3 to start with.
Yeah, it says you get 3. You automatically have to take deflection, and then you get 2 more out of that list of available powers.
Okay. Trying to get back there.
Yeah.
Is that actually in the reading somewhere?
Page 57 at the...
I overshot the hell out of that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, on the Chi Master, like
on the
summary
actual
thing.
page, yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay.
says starting powers, and then it has power points.
Starting powers 3 to flex and okay. Got it. Cool.
By
That's
the
what I was
way,
looking for.
also if you go to like page PDF page 153, actual page 151 for the powers section in the Savage Worlds book,
Yeah.
it does also have you can spend power points in addition to the cost to actually cast that power spell,
Right.
and do stuff like add armor piercing or give
The
them
modifiers, I see
fatigue.
that.
So you can modify stuff too. So there's
Cool.
that.
And yeah, it does. On page 150, it does
Oh,
say that all characters regain 5 points per hour spent resting. And then it does said what constitutes rest is up to a GM.
Yeah.
Yep.
They can rest while riding a horse.
You rest
They
while
can
riding a horse,
regain
but
hit
if you ride a
po-
horse, you have to make a fatigue check.
Yeah. Wait, where does it say riding a horse? Is that in the
Yeah,
Savage Rules?
there's got to be some clarification in there on just how hard you're
That
riding
seems
that horse.
crazy to me.
It
Well,
says
so
a
if you're
hero
like-
can rest while riding a horse. For example, unless the animal is restless, the road is terribly bumpy, traffic requires frequent concentration, etc.
Okay. So, like, if you're just like, because it says heroes can regain power points while walking if the conditions are favorable and the pace is leisurely. So, I
Yeah.
guess if you're not, if
Hard
your horse is
riding.
just like
Trotting
meandering,
along.
yeah, like
Yeah.
not at all bouncing, and you're just like lazily making your way. Yeah, I
Right.
guess that's enough. But yeah, I would say if you're riding to a destination with a express purpose of getting there,
Oh yeah,
Galloping.
yeah.
then you're not good.
If
Yeah,
you have to
yeah.
think about it at all,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, like unless you're just like, let's walk our horses between the town and the next town, and you're just like, we'll just do whatever for the first day. But you can also just sleep, right? Because if you get 5 hours of sleep, that's 25 points right there. It's fun.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, yeah. So I was looking at taking what I get, Code of Honor
Okay.
for a hindrance.
Nice.
Now I can't. Now I got to find it again. It's back in the Deadlands book. Let me look at this real quick. There we go. Yeah, so Code of Honor is a major one. Basically, they just can't lie.
Okay. Is that...
I know I read it somewhere because I wrote it down while I'm taking notes. Maybe it is over here. Hindrance summaries.
I hate that. Like
There it is. It's in the Savage Lands books.
there you go.
God damn
Yeah.
it.
The character keeps his word and acts like a gentleman.
There you go.
So that was a major one, which I feel that'll fit. And then I was going to take out of the Deadlands, a minor is Lying Eyes. Hero has a hindrance, suffers a -1 penalty to all intimidation and persuasion rolls where lies, even little ones, must be told. And I also
Those are
take a
cool
-1 to
because
gambling.
those two really kind of play well
Yeah.
together.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I was looking at one more minor because I need the points.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how I was looking at either the outsider one would be easy.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just not going to be talking to people. Either that, or I was looking at the pacifist minor, and it says you only fight in self-defense. But I feel like, especially with the minor, that really only applies to humans. Like, I'm not going to pick a fight, but if we start one, I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, we're in trouble. Because I kind of like the idea of that whole, look, I don't want to hurt you. I'm going to kill you. All right, cool.
So what? Here's the interest.
Yeah.
So what if they're not clearly a monster?
Sure, right?
They're human. Okay, let's say it's like a vampire that has no intention of hurting you right now. Would you still preemptively, if the group was like, we got to take him now while we have the chance? Or are you like, I have to wait for him to attack me?
That's what, yeah. I feel like
that's what I'm wondering.
I feel like with monsters, we're getting into that. Like, well, I mean, you're still evil, like, right? Hold on. I wonder. Yeah,
He isn't a. So I would understand any monster that is like
monstrous.
like a hanging judge, looks like a dude. I mean, he's
Sure.
a zombie dude, but like they have there is no way they don't kill you when they see you. Like
Exactly. Right.
they
For me,
kill you. So like you could easily argue like my life is in danger anytime one shows up, even if it looks like a guy.
Right. Just
It's
being in
fine.
the same room with this guy. is
But
putting me
my
on the
question
menu.
is, technically, I would think if it was a vampire who has control of their faculties,
Right.
and is a person undead, but does have free will, isn't always he's not trying to eat you. He says, well, I came here to taunt you guys. Fuck you. You're a bunch of dildos, and I'm gonna beat your asses when you come to my fucking shanty tomorrow. Trust me, I've got my vampire buddies, and we're gonna eat the shit out of you guys. Bye. And then the group's like, while he's not expecting it, let's just attack him.
Let's go get him now.
But he says, like, oh, unless you come to my house, my manor, I'm not doing shit. But come there, I'm gonna eat your face. And then, are you able to attack him?
I would say yes.
Before the game. But...
Yeah, no. I would say yes because the way it reads is your hero absolutely despises violence. Close enough, whatever. Sure. Minor pacifism means he only fights when given no other choice and never allows the killing of prisoners or defenseless victims. The major pacifist hindrance won't fight living creatures under any circumstances. So it's very particular. They'll defend themselves, but they won't do anything to permanently harm them. So for something like that, like even if he hasn't threatened us, like, all right, if you come to my place, I'll kill you, right? Yeah. But he's eating people,
right?
And at some point, it's like, sure. But this goes into this whole like, I have this strong urge for like human rights, and I feel not being eaten is real high on the human rights list.
But you wouldn't fight a gunslinger at a bar who's just being a dick, would you? If he's being a dick, he's
I'll punch him for you.
Right?
Well, you notice though, the hindrance actually makes very clear wording there.
Yeah.
You will not hurt any living person.
Wow.
It specifically says that in the hindrance.
Under the major pacifist hindrance.
Exactly. Yes.
It spells
so
it
if
out.
you were to take the major, it still says living person.
Yep. That's true. It's not living.
But here's the thing though. We solved the problem by attacking whatever the creature, and then when it attacks us back, he's defending us. So then it's fair
have to
game.
survive.
Because if he doesn't help us, we may get murdered.
Oh. Yeah. This is where Jose would have absolutely said, nope, I will not. If you attack that vampire, I'm a pacifist. I will not attack him. You started it, and I'm not helping you finish it. And he did that once in a game, and it got people killed, and they were mad. He literally said, I told you guys I'm not doing it before, out of character, and you still did it. And I was like,
it was in Goblin Town, right?
It was
he was playing the
Goblin
Dragonborn. He just fucking sat down and was like,
yeah.
Nope,
he let them get fucking shadracked by a bunch of so many goblins.
I feel with the minor hindrance. If it was taking the major one, no, but just as a minor hindrance,
I agree.
I think it'll be fun. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we have to attack everything.
I know one of you guys has to take the.
Well, I definitely punch first and ask questions later.
Yeah. I think you're safe. Yeah. You're a safe bet for instigating defense.
Oh yeah.
Free up the defense.
Oh, yeah. Just punches.
And then let him start attacking.
There you
throwing punches. Like that's.
Yeah.
All right.
And
cool.
they both have smite. Oh, this is gonna be easy. So easy.
Right?
I know now, but that's now we're.
I am rolling a constant +1 to all my damage, to all my attacks. With smite, it's a +2 to damage.
All right, now I gotta look up
D10
these
for shooting.
So long as I don't fail, we're good.
Please, Griffin, please.
I want to know how. I want to just guess how many times you accidentally shoot one of these other guys
Oh, it's
in
gonna
in the course of the first, I don't know, like story arc.
Yeah.
I feel like at least once. I think one of you is getting shot at
I am.
yes.
You know what? I am dual wielding, so that's doubling the roll.
Oh yeah, you're just doubling your chance.
So
of
yeah,
this.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yep.
It's just
Yes.
how bad is it gonna hurt when it does?
I'm
Shoot
so
me in
glad.
the ass a couple of times when I'm in the middle of a bar fight or something.
I know.
it all depends on if I've. I can't remember what is it when you roll double the amount.
Is it
So-
an ace or no?
Raises? Like
No, it's the
When
Raise-
it raised,
Yeah.
there. It all depends on if I've
I
raised
was
my
just reading
smite
about
or
that.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I raise my smite roll, then I'm rolling at a +4 damage.
Oof.
So
Fudge.
this is gonna be great.
Yeah. So that's going to be a
Smite doesn't
1d6 plus 4 right there. That's going to be
Nice.
something.
Yeah, he's a
Awesome.
dangerous fellow.
All right, Neil's gonna have to check the rules.
I was checking to see if smite. I was like, I don't know if that's gonna use both guns though. I don't.
No, I have to cast it per weapon.
That's what I
So-
thought. Yeah, I was like, you're not getting both of those though. I don't think for one, 2 for
No.
1.
And if
That's-
you did it
yeah.
the same round, it's probably a multi-action penalty too, right? You right have to
Well,
cast
not with his-
smite as an
Not with
action.
this. Oh, because smite's not shooting.
It's a spell.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah, you would take a -2 to both rolls.
Can you? So with the flavor then, right? Because you could flavor the spells. Could it be that the smite is the bullet, right? Like you'd still have to cast it in a round.
when you
shoot?
cast it on a ranged weapon, it imbues all of the ammo within
All
the
of the
weapon.
ammo. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be
Oh,
all
nice.
6 rounds of the weapon
Nice.
of
Nice.
the
Nice.
gun.
Nice. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Man, oh man, get me a
having
Gatling gun, guys. Get me a Gatling gun. Cast smite on a fucking 30 rounder.
Look, we get a horse with a wagon. We make our own technical.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's man. I'm gonna double check that it gets every round of ammo. Damn
It
it.
does.
That's so much. That's
Neil
so
going
much
to
though.
damage control.
Like,
Crisis
God
mode.
damn it. This is like I'm back to Rogue Trader where I either kill you or you kill it in one shot. That's all there is. There is nothing else.
Oh, so you remember the power of my navigator.
Exactly. And then if I build anything else, yeah, I'm like,
Yep.
it's if I have to throw stuff in that either kills you or you kill it, and it's
Yep.
literally like a round. That's it.
Yep.
That's all there was.
My navigator was really good at doing one thing, and that was using all of his power to roll 6d8 on one attack.
Yeah, that fucks up almost anything. It's just
But
like,
that's all but if I missed that, then I was fucking dead.
yeah,
He was the
Yeah.
last guy.
but you just didn't. You never missed.
I never I
It's
missed
just-
every once in a while.
Occasionally,
It
yeah, but
did,
like for
yeah.
the most part, you just fucking melted things' faces
Oh, yeah.
immediately. Like no,
I
question
had
asked.
like I think I had like a 70 something in whatever
Yeah.
skill or like an 80. I think it might have been like an 83 or something in the skill
yeah,
for
and it's
yeah,
like
so.
you can't, you're not gonna fail that. And then
No.
you end up with fucking raises on it, and yeah, you're like, I was
Yep.
like, oh, this guy, this thing's gone. Sorry, demon. You're like supposed to be so hard to fight. Nope, gone.
Leave it to Jesse.
I mean, this guy's probably going to be able to headshot some shit pretty good. But
I do one thing and one thing well.
I mean, some things have to be resistant to
Oh yeah.
like physical damage to some degree. It's just I can't only throw those at you, so you know. So other folks can jump in. Oh, maze pirates. Awesome.
What?
Yeah, there's apparently the maze isn't just like, I guess there's water, like it fell into the ocean, some of it, so like it's not all like land, and so
Yeah,
there's
some of it's-
actual
I
pirates.
thought you
that-
meant like guys that steal corn. I was
No.
This is what happens when you spend so much time in the Midwest.
right. It made sense.
Yeah, they just go and like loot all the people trying to mine Ghost Rock and like take all their stuff. But yeah, there's just pirates running around in the maze. Although I guess I could make maze pirates the other kind, except they sail on waves of corn. I don't know what their boat would be made of, but like a big flat thing with maybe like a rudder. I don't know. You could probably do it. Like it's pretty corn stalks are pretty tough if you had a wide enough platform. I don't know.
I mean, they could just throw wheels on a boat.
Yeah.
Land pirates.
Just go through the corn. Just fuck someone's corn all the way up. You would get shot just for being like, wow, fucking half my corn's gone. And you're like,
that's a hanging.
Yes. For sure.
Dude. Smite has a modifier.
Wait.
Additional recipient.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
I could smite both my weapons at the same time.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
Wow.
You could help a brother out. I mean,
no.
Yeah, that too, I guess.
Yeah, right? Because since those are like blessed, if there is a thing that's susceptible to magic, but maybe not as susceptible to, physical, actual damage, there you go. You can.
So in order to do the
enchant
modifier, I just have to spend the extra points, right?
Yep.
Okay. So in theory, it costs 2 points to cast Smite and then +1 for each additional recipient. In theory, I could cast Smite on one weapon for everybody.
hell yeah.
For 1, 2, 3, 5 points.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
And that's a D6 +4 to them?
I think
Or do they
+2
not
to
get the
damage.
Okay.
Yeah, +2 or +4 with a raise.
And then you wouldn't have to do it again, because if it's every bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, you'd have to everyone would have to go through all of their
Yeah. So it lasts
reload,
for 5 rounds, I'm assuming. It says it lasts. It's a duration of 5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it'd be 5 rounds, yeah. So well,
every bullet except the last one.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so this one is they have their list of offenses, and it's horse thieving, hanging, rustling, hanging, murder, hanging, rape, hanging, unnatural acts, pretty much anything they want that to be, but mostly like witchcraft and stuff, that's a hanging. Then it's attempted murder, bank robbery, train robbery, theft from a widow. Those are 20 plus years. Jesus. I love how theft from a widow is 20 years specifically. Theft from someone of authority, 5 years. Grand larceny, which is over $300, anything other than horses or cattle. That's 5 plus years. Theft of less than $300 is a week to a year. Drunken public is overnight $10 fine. Disorderly $10 fine. Carrying a weapon in a no weapon zone, confiscation, and $10 fine.
Well, disorderly, I'll take $10 right off the top for the backstory.
So yeah, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Some of those, I feel like this carrying a weapon thing. If places aren't allowing weapons, that's going to be a sticky issue for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I was going to say you've played with us, but you've played with us, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like people may not want to do that so readily. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some folks might. I'm assuming some people try to sneak it in. Yeah, I was trying to read. It must have been in Reloaded that had either that or it's a different town. But one of them definitely wants you to, like, check your guns no matter what.
I think it's one of the big towns.
Yeah, that's why I was looking. It was either Dodge City, could be Deadwood, could be Tombstone. That's why I was looking. Like,
I think it's Dodge City.
that's what I thought, but then it doesn't say it in this book. But I was reading more from Reloaded just because it's closer to the time period.
Well, they might have retconned it in the new one just to not hamstring characters to be like, oh, when you get into the inevitable bar fight or showdown or whatever, you don't have your pistol.
Which is exactly what I do. That's my favorite part. Like, what are you talking about? Like, of course, anytime you have a scene where it's like you can't have your guns, like, figure it out. As long as no one else has their guns, or like maybe a guy snuck a gun in or whatever, that's one thing. But like, yeah, I wouldn't have you go against like a 6-man posse fully decked out and then be like, oh, but you don't have yours. Like, everyone would be maybe one guy, snuck one in, but I wouldn't screw you that bad. But I love the, like, now you just got to figure it out with shit you're not used to doing. Like, oh, I don't fight hand to hand. I love those fights. They're fun.
Yeah.
There it is.
Cool. Do we want to wrap? Have we kicked this around enough? I know it's Jim doesn't want to be up too late. Jesse and I may stay up for 4 more hours.
Luckily tomorrow's the holiday, so
that's right. It's holiday weekend. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to march in the parade with my kids.
Oh, there you go.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds fun to get into it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to do that. That is what I want to do. I wouldn't. Oh, here I would never do it because
are you doing it?
It's been nice right now, but it's like fucking 90 degrees the rest of the days this week already, and I'm like, this sucks. Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow, but it was 85 today. So,
that's too. Yeah, that's real high for a parade.
Right.
That's 85 is like, I don't know about this parade. I don't know if I want to stand there to watch a parade.
No.
Like, as I get older, I'm getting to be kind of a fucking wuss when it comes to that shit. I'm like, that sounds hot. That's sweat weather right there.
Yeah.
Anything above 70 is sweat weather for me, to be so.
Yeah,
me too.
I don't know. We were in Dunedin yesterday and was like, my wife, we were getting ready to go to a restaurant and she was like, oh, do you want to like walk around a little bit? It's a little early. And we were like, I don't know. Sure. Let's walk around. And she was like, oh, we can walk down to the docks because there's like a little, fishing dock and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally looked and it was, I don't know, like 5 o'clock. So sun was directly toward the Gulf, right? Beating down. I look, no shade. It's just straight beach buildings, 1-story walk, all in the sun to the docks. And I literally just went,
this is a lot.
I was like, there doesn't look like I was like, that's a lot. There's no shade that way. Like, I've seen the dock before. So we just went to
In fact, I could see it from here.
I couldn't do it, man. The sun was so hot. It was already like it wasn't even starting to get slightly cooler angle. It was still
right.
beating
Yeah,
down.
it's still way up there.
And I was like, dude, if we go all the way to that dock, there's nothing there. It's just open. I don't have it in me. It's so hot. Yeah, I was really pathetic. That was the first time I've just been like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's not. It'll happen more and more now. I'm just like, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. So,
Especially with the humidity too.
oh yeah,
90
Especially
with all
down
the
there.
humidity
Oh
is-
my god.
it's the worst. It's
I
the
was
worst.
stationed. Yeah, I was stationed in Tampa for like 5 years.
Oh really?
Oof. Yeah.
Yikes.
Luckily, I was deployed like 9 months out of the year.
You're like, I get to get out of this
Right?
fucking swamp hole.
Exactly. I showed up and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's cool. It's like 110 degrees in Iraq, but it's a dry heat." And I'm like, "Dude, screw you. I'm going from one shitty heat to another."
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't know. The Arizona thing, I'm like, I don't know, dude. Arizona's pretty fucking hot. Like, it's just hot. It's just different hot. I don't know if I want that either.
It's not better. I don't care what anybody says.
It's a dry heat, but it's still heat.
Yeah, it's still 120 heats. Knock it off.
Yeah, I would be like, if it were the same heat and dry, that's one thing. But this is 30 degrees more heat,
right?
And dry.
Trying to sell that shit.
I'm not sure this balancing act is working. I was like, where is there no humidity in the north? Where is that?
Nowhere.
Yeah, I was like, is there a desert in the north? Damn it. There isn't. It doesn't exist.
Well, most of the year, the humidity is like 5%, 10%. You start getting into monsoon season. Yeah, it gets up to like 40, 50, 100% when it's raining, obviously. But, 80, 85, 86, and there's usually a breeze blowing in the afternoon. Like, that's nice out. Like, it's comfortable. But, like, down here by me, it gets to about 100 and usually doesn't get much more than 115. But, like, during monsoon season with 50% humidity or 60% humidity, it's pretty hot.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
I just started sweating thinking about that.
Right? It flips, right? So, like, in the winter, you don't go out on the East Coast because it's cold and it's ice and snow and miserable.
Yeah.
And you go out in the summer, you go out in the spring. It just flip flops here.
Yeah.
After September, it's gorgeous between like maybe end of September all the way through early part of May. It's just fucking gorgeous, right? Because the humidity's down. There's usually a breeze. It's 80s.
I mean, that's better than here. Here, I have January and February.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it sucks.
Yeah, here's the problem. You are talking to the guy that shovels his driveway in a t-shirt. Like, I'm out there in 40-degree weather, like in a t-shirt and some snow pants on, and I'm like,
at least you have pants. I mean, it could be worse.
Pants on at least, yeah.
Well,
yeah, because I mean, granted, it didn't snow at all this year, but like last year, we had like 1.5 feet of snow. So I don't want to get wet.
When it gets cold around here, we always have that one white kid, like when I'm dropping my daughter off at school, that shows up in shorts. And I'm like, dude, it is 30 degrees. What are you doing?
Right.
You're making the rest of us look bad. Stop this.
Yeah. That was my favorite. When I first moved here, I laughed at a lady for coming out of a store. It was 65 degrees, and it was like it was sprinkling with some wind. And I swear to God, she was in like a wool jacket, like so, like as bundled as possible, looking like she was going to die of hypothermia. Literally, like, oh God, on the way to the car. And I was wearing like a t-shirt and a windbreaker and was like, oh my God, people here, what a bunch of wusses. They don't know how to handle the cold. This is pathetic. And then now I'm like, it's a little chilly out here. What's the temperature? Like 75. And I swear to God, I'm like 75.
I just put the sweater in the closet.
Oh God.
I'm the worst. I was like, how is that possible?
I don't know if it's a Florida thing. I was stationed down there, and I'd been there for a while. And a buddy of mine, we got to know each other when he transferred from Minot, North Dakota. Yeah, and it was cold in the morning. It was like 70, but our unit's like, hey, we're in t-shirt and shorts this morning. We're like, shorts and t-shirts? It's cold as hell. What's wrong with y'all? And he's talking mad shit. Like, man, y'all don't know what cold is. Blah. 12 months later, that dude was crying so bad. Like,
I don't want to go home,
and it's so cold. I don't want to. I gotta wear my sweats at least.
That's dude. What I don't know how it does it, but I swear it didn't. It took like a year or two, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, it's 65 with a breeze. Where's my ski jacket? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yep. It is currently 60 degrees in my basement, and this is beautiful.
Wow.
This is
That's nice. I used to have basements. Used to have basements.
Now they'll just flood.
Now it's just
Ugh.
a slab, and I can't get it cool enough without paying so much money that it's not worth it. It's on like 76, and it never goes under that.
Yeah.
Actually, it did one time get cold enough that we opened the sliding door, and like it was like 30 degrees, and then like 50 in the day in the winter, like enough that we opened it up to get the house to drop to like 72 or
Wow. Yeah.
that's like the lowest I can get it. Otherwise, it's just like just heats back up.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I knew a couple of people who moved to South Carolina, and he had I talked to him after a while, and he was like, I never turned my air conditioning off. Like it's just on
Oh yeah,
all year round now. It's like
yep.
there's nothing. There's no even at night. Like it maybe during the winter it might drop low enough that you could crack a window.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
but then during the day it goes right back up.
We've been
And
here
it's like,
9
nothing.
years, and it was, I'm not joking, 9 years when we first moved into this house, and maybe it's the weatherproofing, like leaking more and stuff now, like over time it wears out, but like our first year here, the winter, I swear to God, was so much more mild. Like I think climate change is like ratcheting to us in particular even worse now. Like the first year I had an $80 power bill because the air conditioner didn't turn on for an entire month. It was just never ran. And then now I'm like $300 even in like, I mean, in the summer it's easily 300, but now it's like, it's going to get worse and worse. And I didn't have a month that it didn't turn on this year. Every month the air conditioning was running. December, January. Occasionally you could open the door at night. Occasionally.
Wow.
But yeah, it's so brutal. I don't know.
I get at least 2 months, maybe 4 months on either end where everything's off.
Oh man.
And
I mean,
then
that's
you
pretty
like
nice.
in the morning you could open up the windows, it cools everything down. You know, if I'm home, I'll leave them open until, you know, like 10, 11, it starts to get warm, and then close everything and the house is cool. Same thing. You know, the envelope is so tight that, you know, maybe by 4 o'clock the house is warm enough for the air to kick on or whatever. But like, you know, now it's, you know, in the 90s every day so far for, you know, most of May. So like it's just on. Like it just runs now. But it's still cool in the morning.
And it sucks. Replacing those sucks. So fucking expensive. And I was like, this is insane. But yeah, once I got the new one in, it just never stops running. And our humidity inside is like 40%. That's what the air conditioner pulling moisture.
Yeah, right.
Fucking gross.
Fuck that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we're looking good. I think we got a good setup going, and I have everything. I'll get NPCs and stuff readied to some degree because now I found ChatGPT lets me do that pretty nicely. It's really useful.
God damn it!
I did. I asked it. Can
I'm gonna edit that out.
Oh, really? I asked, you can edit this out. Can you create a list of names, occupations, and 3 personality traits for 10 NPCs in Deadlands? And it just did.
It just does it.
And then I said it gave me like gunslingers and stuff. So I said, no, can you? All I typed was, oh, sorry, can you do townspeople? And then it just redid it as like shop owners and like. I was like, son of a bitch. That's pretty good.
There's one of the games I'm creating. I wanted like weird, not because it's futuristic, so they're not potions, but basically potions, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted like kind of like weird, like mixes of stuff, and I'm like, I can't I could come up with one or two, but I wanted like a dozen. And so I went into ChatGPT and I'm like, give me 10 futuristic elixirs. And it was like, cool, here's their names, here's the description. I'm like, can I have 10 more? Sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, God
Coming
damn
up,
it.
beep, boop, boop, does it.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. Now, it is terrible at other things. I'll give it
Oh,
that.
it's horrible.
Like,
Facts, it's garbage.
this was the one that made me so angry. By the way, I know we're trying to get off here, but this is Neil. I never get off here. Everyone knows I am on here all night. If I'm
She
on.
said.
I know it's a problem. It's like, I've got work tomorrow. You better finish up, buddy. And I'm like, what is this? The Oscars?
This
You're
is
not
post-show.
Don't turn that fucking playoff music off. Whatever they can play you out. Anyway. Yeah, like I asked it a very simple question that I thought, okay, let's see how it does. I did it Kevin Bacon game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon,
Nice.
between Kevin Bacon and Tim Robinson. And if you don't know Tim Robinson, he's the greatest comedy mind of the history of the universe. He's the funniest person to ever exist. I'm overselling it, but his show is my favorite show. It's coming out on Tuesday, season 3. Watch it, and everyone enjoy another season if everyone watches it. And I said, do the Kevin Bacon thing. First of all, I asked it first, and it gave me 14 steps, and I went, no, in the minimum number of steps. And it was like, sorry. And then it said, Kevin Bacon was in something with Ryan Reynolds, and now I don't even remember what that was. And then it said Ryan Reynolds was in Free Guy with Tim Robinson. Now, here's the thing. I've seen Free Guy, and I was like, I don't think he was in that movie.
Yeah.
I then Googled him. I IMDb Tim Robinson. I was like, he was not in Free Guy. I would have remembered that. Looked it up. There's zero record of it. I went, ChatGPT, I couldn't find any evidence that Tim Robinson was in Free Guy. And it said, I'm sorry, I must have made a mistake. Let me try it again. Here's a different link. And I was like, you just made that up. You just said a guy was in a movie, and the movie credits exist on a searchable database called IMDb. You could find that, ChatGPT. You should know he wasn't listed in that. Where did you make that up?
Well,
So-
it's probably got to the point where it's smart enough to realize that if you're using ChatGPT, you're probably not going to research any of the information.
That's my go find
Great.
out.
Great point.
So
they're
there
like,
was-
he doesn't know. They're not gonna
There was a podcast I was listening to that was talking about this, and one of the guys asked ChatGPT. Now, granted, I think this was version 2,
okay.
but still, the guy's a journalist. He's been a journalist for like 50 something years, and he said, "Tell me about so and so's career." Right? Or tell me about so-and-so's life. Well, in that prompt, in doing that, it assumed he was dead. And so it gave like born such and such, died such and such, gave a rundown of his career. And then he was like, give me like, well, what proof, like give me links to his death. It made up a URL that linked to nothing.
Yep.
But it made a URL that was supposed to link to this guy's eulogy,
That's
to his obituary.
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A very similar thing happened to a colleague who was grading something that was written by ChatGPT, and there were very few citations needed for it. And one of them they showed it to me. It was like the fakest. You couldn't make up a more fake looking reference. It was like, something about it just struck you as like, that just seems like gobbledygook. And it made up a fucking link and had like, oh, the article was written. This is an article titled blah, blah, blah. that was related to the topic they were researching, and it was like, these are the authors, they were at this university, and here's the website. And I was like, you could Google everything in that citation and none of it existed. And I was like, it just made up like a journal article out of thin air.
Yeah.
What? Why? How does it not know? Like, I'm dumb. I can't just say I don't know. Like,
yeah. Well, so there was an article that just came out, I think yesterday or the day before. It was a lawyer writing case briefings, like filings for cases, and he was using ChatGPT to write the filings, and it was making up cases to reference.
It was
yes.
Oh no. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's
not
real
good.
bad. Like, that's the thing, but people don't recognize that it just does. And I guess I heard it in a conference call recently, because I now deal with this stuff on a semi-routine basis, that they call it hallucinating.
It's not. It's just lying. It's just like, making shit up.
And I was like, that's a real nice term for just making up crap. Like,
can I say that? If I just fucking lie directly to your face and then you call me out on it, can I say, "Oh, sorry, I was hallucinating"?
Sure.
You could try it. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Yeah. Like, you could. I was like, is it schizophrenic then? Is it having actual hallucinations of a reality that doesn't exist, except maybe it does to it?
Or a scary version, it's actually drawing on realities that do exist that
that we can't see. Like, that's but I just thought about that, and I was like, wait, isn't that freaky? That's a great horror story. John, get on it. Write that. Are you writing stories? You gotta write. That's a great story. The computer's AI is making up shit that is true in another reality, and then there's some connection. That's a fucking great story right there. You're welcome, whoever writes that, and someone does something with it. I like you guys. Jesse gets it. John knows. I say that a lot. I say you're welcome to giving people lots of ideas. I'm not going to do anything about, but still great that you should make money off of. And then just send me $1 or something. Say thanks.
Right?
I don't care. Don't send me the $1. Just say thanks. Just say Neil guy said this is a great story idea, and I wrote it.
Just in the prologue, say thanks, Neil.
Yeah, just that. Don't even say anything else.
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks, Neil. You had a great idea. I turned it into a story. Thank you. That's it. I don't need anything else. But yeah, that's weird.
Crazy.
Yeah. Technology.
All right. I think we did it.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for checking it out. There's links in the show notes for stuff. Working on Core Cthulhu things. Jesse's working on Runners and Megamon. Jim's got a podcast. Jim, what's your podcast?
The Dapper Meeple.
Check that out as well. Neil's any of your stuff?
We got a low-key shout out in the last episode.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna see if you can find it, because for Spotify's real weird. I do have a podcast where I talk about Love is Blind season 4 with a friend of mine. It's called Is Love Blind? It is available everywhere, but I can't find it on Spotify. Trust me, love isn't blind, guys. That's a lot of what we talk about. Hey, it's got like 50 listens to the first episode with no promotion whatsoever. So okay, guys.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good there. But yeah, it's Is Love Blind? ? You can find it on Apple and Stitcher, and probably not Spotify, because even though I publish through them, I can't find it on there, and I made it. So go somewhere else for it, or I don't know. Find a link. Send John an email and ask me for a link.
There's a lot of Love is Blind recap podcasts, apparently.
I know, but like there wasn't when we started the idea. Now there's just all following.
Again, everybody just writing.
Everyone's just your
Right.
ideas.
I had it. Don't get me started on the one that I'm pretty sure my friend and I started a trend that has become very popular, and I swear to God we did it. Okay, I'll say it. Ugly Christmas sweater as an ironic joke. I'm not joking. Unless you can prove to me it was done before 1999 on a massive scale. We started that in 1999. I'm serious. It was on Facebook and everything. I was like, people are stealing our idea. And then I looked. A bunch of people had posted when we went to a Christmas party with ugly Christmas sweaters, ironically. Then, like 2 years later, everyone was doing it. I did that. You're welcome.
You're a trendsetter.
You're a trend, but I don't know. I don't want to welcome. That's bad.
Well,
Damn
we thought
you.
it was fun when it was actually about kind of making fun of Christmas and sweaters, but mostly Christmas sweaters. But no, we actually had photos taken. It was actually my grandma's favorite day because we also took those Christmas sweaters, went to her house, and did a Christmas photo shoot of us in those sweaters.
that's
Her
nice.
in her ugly, she wears it. We didn't call it ugly at the time.
Yeah, it's
Christmas
not
sweater, old lady Christmas sweater, and had her read Christmas books to us in the pictures.
Oh my
And
Oh.
it was her favorite day. She would talk about that picture to everyone that came by because we spent the afternoon taking funny pictures with her, like reading Christmas stories to us. Great day.
That's awesome.
That was the
fantastic.
same day that party happened. So I'm just saying, show me proof, internet, before 1999, and I will say it wasn't us then.
Just don't ask Chat GPT for the proof. Because
Don't
it'll
ask
just make it
ChatGPT.
up.
It's just going to show you a picture that it drew in its mind.
And then it's
Yeah.
going to go to DALL-E and generate a
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
God.
You'll be able to tell, though, from the fingers. They'll be all fucking weird and gangly.
Yep.
There'll be 8 of them on one hand, and that's how
Even, Mid-Journey, the newest Mid-Journey version has gotten a lot better at it,
Oh.
but you can still look. Like every like third picture, I'm like, nope, that's a chunky finger. That's a chunky hand with only 3 fingers on it.
Oh, no.
Or they'll be like layered up like this, and you're like, nope, that's a potato for a hand. That doesn't count.
I love it. I love it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll
Yep.
catch you next
Thank you
time.
guys.
Thank
See
you.
you in
Peace.
2 weeks.